You've been warned. You've been warned. You've been warned. What's up, y'all? Another interesting Black comic creator interview on here on the Black Comic Lords. Look, we're gonna spoil the hell out this book, Black Panther Blood Hunt. It's interesting. Um, First of all, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being here. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel so that you'll know when we're doing this in the future. And please, all of you, just take a quick second before we get started and like this video. So it'll help get our algorithm going so we can spread the love of the Black Comic Lords. So, those of you who are not new to the channel know that we do these Black comic creators interviews. They're very special to me personally as well. It's interesting in that at this point, we've kind of interviewed the whole gamut of creators, from literal goats to really new creators, right? Brand new creators, to creators that are very, very super talented, but may not have as much notoriety because they might work on indie books or what have you. But every once in a while, we come across a creator who is on the newer side of their journey, of their profession, but you can quickly tell this person has an upside that's just out of this world. And I think that's what we have in Cheryl Lynn Eaton. What's up, everyone in the chat? Hey, how you doing? So look, I don't want to spend a lot of time belaboring the point. I've been terribly excited. I'm honestly a little bit nervous because I'm fanboying out tonight a lot, and it's going to show. I'm not apologizing. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Cheryl Lynn Eaton.
Hello, everybody. I'm nervous too, so don't
Have
worry
you
about it.
ever been interviewed before on comic stuff before?
I've been interviewed, but not live. This is the first live interview, I believe. So yeah,
Oh,
little
don't worry
nervous,
about it.
but
We can always edit out stuff later on. Not really, but I just want you to put you at ease. All right, so welcome to the show.
it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you coming on. Your comic book journey. Well, tell us, how did you get into comics?
As a reader or as a writer?
As a fan. As a fan.
Oh, as a fan, Archie comics. Oh my goodness. Single digits Archie comics there in Pathmark, which is like Publix for those of you who are, who don't know. And I saw them, and my mom would get me Double Digest, and I would have stacks of Archie Double Digest. So that was the start for comics for me. And it was Archie for a very long time. And my first I guess experience with superhero comics did not go that well. My cousins are huge Marvel comic fans, both of them. And I was over my grandmother's house, Brownstone in Brooklyn, and they had an issue of like classic X-Men. And it was the one where they went to limbo or to hell. I was way too young to be reading that. And that I had nightmares for like weeks, and that was it. And I was done with super. I went right back to Archie until I was like in my teens, and that's when I started picking up superhero comics again.
I knew you were. I suspected you were from Brooklyn the minute you said Pathmark.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Brooklyn myself. What part of Brooklyn are you from?
I was actually Jersey. My mother is from Brooklyn, and I was born in Brooklyn because she made my father drive her all the way from New Jersey to Brooklyn. So like born in Brooklyn. So, and I have a little bit of my mother's accent. So people always assume that, but she was Bed-Stuy. My mom was Bed-Stuy.
I was 3 blocks away from Bed-Stuy.
Uh, my
Bed-Stuy.
grandmother my grandmother lived on Gates Avenue, and my mom lived on Green.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, so my first comic book experience in Brooklyn was, the local bodega. You see the comic book spinner rack at the local bodegas. That's where I used to get my first comics. But um, so at what point in your life did you decide to go from being a fan of comics to writing comics?
Um, this is embarrassing that I'm going to admit this, but I used to write Wildstorm fan fiction. Quite
Wildstorm Comics?
no, not for Wild fan fiction of for Wildstorm Comics, and I was obsessed with Wildstorm Comics when I was younger, and that's
Which
when I
one?
started.
Wildcats or
Oh, listen, the whole line. I've read Wildcats. I've read Stormwatch. I've read Gen 13.
ah,
Okay, there was not a Wildstorm book that I was not getting. Okay, I got them all. I was obsessed with that. The way my cousins were obsessed with Marvel is I was obsessed with the entire Wildstorm line. And of course,
yeah,
for Marvel, I love Storm and Wolverine. X Men. If you're at a certain age, X Men is the thing. So, but I started writing fanfic, and I did that for a very long time. And when I actually decided to write comics, I actually had to be pushed into it. So I was like, oh, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm not, and I would have like these like confidence crises and all the time. And the first person who was like, no, you're gonna do it because I think you can do it. And that was Kelly Sue DeConnick. And I wrote a short for Bitch Planet Triple Feature. And I was so
yeah.
glad that she pushed me into it because I was like, I can't do it. I'm gonna be terrible, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I believe in you. I guess she probably had to handle like so many of us who were just like, nervous and everything because she put so much effort into new creators. And that was the first time, right? And so I wrote that and I was like, okay, I did my little comic thing. I'm done. Tom King, you should write a Batman short. I had this project coming up, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. And he's like, come on, you can do it. You can do. And it was there was like a DC pop up convention. They really should bring conventions back because that's like the best place to get jobs. Um, and he was like, no, I think you could do it. And we have a mutual friend in common who is amazing, has like the best podcast. I love Culture Trapping, Julian Lytle. And they basically Julian did the introduction for that. And Tom was like, yeah, I follow you on Twitter. I'm not advising following me on Twitter because I'm a mess on there. Uh, but and that's when he was like, I think you should try it. And that's when I did a short for Batman Secret Files.
Now there's a question here from C. Cole. It says, how did you get, well, you just to answer the first part, but are you the first Black woman to ever write a Batman comic?
I didn't think so, but Jill Ilyich said that I was, and I was like, that's crazy. Because it was like
Wow.
2019, 2018 that I wrote that.
Yeah,
So I
you'd
can't
be
be the
surprised.
first.
Ah,
I
you'd
can't
be
be the first, can
surprised.
I?
Yes, you were. Just like Eve Ewing
Wow.
was the first Black woman to write a regular Black Panther series. And that was
That's
just last
crazy to
year.
me.
Yeah. This is
Wow.
why Black comic lords exist, to talk about stuff like that. All right. So it's interesting because you did that early work at DC, and then you get recruited for a little company called Milestone.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Now, you may not know this, but I am the hugest Milestone fan from like day one. Like,
Well deserved.
owned all the original books, read them all from day one. And so when Milestone came back and, they did the Milestone Initiative to bring up the next level of talent, I was like tremendously just interested. And you were one of these creators. You were one of this tap talent for the next generation of super legends. We've been blessed to interview a few of the people in your graduating class there.
I'm in a
Uh,
good class, let me tell you.
you are a lot of talent in that Milestone Initiative.
Yeah.
You did a story involving Aqua Maria.
Yes.
Where is it? Oh, geez, give me a sec.
No.
Here it is. Aqua Maria.
I'm like, well, you can't be homesick, but like, I miss everybody. Oh, they were like the sweetest people ever. Not only like the initiative members, but like everyone who took care of us. It was a really, really good experience. It really was.
Did you have anyone that like mentored you? Like one of these, there's a lot of legends that were in that group. Everyone from Dennis Cowan, Reggie Hudlin, etc. Like crisscross. Like, did you have any of those goats? Like, give you a word of inspiration or anything like
Oh,
that?
they
Have
all
any?
came to talk to us, and we actually had like they didn't just like stick us in there and say get to work. They actually prepped us. So I had a tutor, Amy Chu, an amazing writer herself, and she was with us every step of the way in creating the story, basically doing the breakdown of how things work. So I really like the fact that they didn't just like stick us out there to sink or swim. They really had people around us you know, to look out for us and to make sure we were on the right path.
You did this dope story with Aqua Maria and the story about human trafficking. Is there any reason you did that particular story? Of all, because I think from what I understand, they gave you the opportunity to pitch a story and then do it.
We actually pitched more than one, and basically, I just picked my two favorite characters. They did not go for the dog pitch, which was my favorite character, favorite monster character.
From
They
Blood
didn't
Syndicate.
take that. Yes, my favorite Malcolm character. I was such a little weirdo, but that was my favorite character. Oh, you know what? I'm going to tell you the pitch. I'm sorry. I'm going to like pour
Please,
Aqua
please. I
Maria
was
get
about
back
to
to you.
ask you, what was the pitch on the dog?
So the pitch on the dog was basically he was losing money. Dog was losing money because he was playing three card Monty from this guy who was like on the street. So he was like, well, you know what? I'm in Blood Syndicate. I'm just gonna go get my girl, and she's gonna go back 3 seconds every time, and then I'm gonna pick the right card, right? And so they go in, and he still picks the wrong card. And then Dog like flips out. He starts attacking the poor guy. And then like police and the canine unit come and chase him down. So that was basically it. But they were like, no, 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 we want the Aquamarine story. So that was, and I understand because it was a little risque. Language is kind of, I mean, I love the character. Like, who doesn't love a talking dog? But um, his language is kind of out there, and he's kind of works blue. So yeah, so they decided,
There's some edge in your writing, which we're going to get into in a bit.
yeah.
All right. So another project you worked on was the Marvel Infinity comics. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with these, if you have the Marvel Unlimited app, they basically have these web comics. And from what I understand, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Cheryl Lynn, a lot of the newer creators get their starts on the Infinity comics. Is that a fair assessment?
Seems to be that way, which is kind of funny because writing an Infinity comic is such a totally different experience from writing, your regular paper comic. It's vertical, so it's like a vertical scroll, and you kind of had to change the way you think about things. Federico Manson is such an amazing artist. She was the one who was paired with me for A Force, and like the way she would think about layouts, I guess it was just came easy to her that she could just switch to like that vertical storytelling line easily. But yeah, it was a wonderful experience. But it's kind of like switching dialects almost
Hmm.
to write for vertical, to write for an Infinity comic rather than a regular comic.
What's interesting, and we're going to touch about this a little bit more as we go along. I really wanted to start off with some of the earlier stuff before we got into the Blood Hunt stuff to point out a couple things I thought was interesting about your writing. So because we're primarily gonna talk about Black Panther here, let's go into this Black Panther story you did. You did this story on Black Panther. I don't know if the Infinity Comics are considered canon or not. I don't care at this point.
No,
Um, do you know?
I don't know.
I
Um,
don't know. It's not
I'm
really
not
relevant.
sure.
Well,
I
the
believe
point
A
of
Force is, but I'm not sure if they all are.
yeah. Well, the way you wrote this, there's nothing that's inconsistent with anything that's in canon. But what I loved about it is you took the opportunity to write this Infinity comic, which may or may not be canon, but you took the opportunity to do world building in the Wakandaverse, so to speak. You introduce this concept of sentient vibranium, manifesting itself into this creature, right? Who attacks T'Challa, and uh, I just thought that was kind of cool that you are not afraid to do world building. And I think a lot of world building involves a creativity and b a degree of risk, you know,
Yeah.
because you're either going to get turned down by your editor and say, no, that's not going to work. Don't do that. Or, you may get so creative, you're like, get lost in the wind and, in the trees. And now I don't know where to go with this, and you're not afraid to do that. Not at all. And you do it
Most fun
successfully.
part.
Huh?
It's the most fun part. It
I'm
really
glad
is.
you find it fun because it's very rewarding for us as readers because you take these risks in the writing and being creative, and I dig that. I because you do new things and stuff that doesn't fit any type of trope that we've seen before. Um, and I think if that was one of my biggest gripes with a lot of mainstream comics is that a lot of writers don't do that these days. So I really appreciate that about your writing. It shows up again. I mean, you have these things like here's this Dora Milaje that are talking, and they're talking about the mute zone, which is a concept which was brought up in the previous run in was it Coates or Ewing? It was Coates. Coates, yes,
Yeah, it
in
was
the
good.
Nation Under Our Feet. He brings up the mute zone, which is the area of Wakanda that doesn't have any technology. Um, and that's another thing is that you do this research. You like are not afraid to like dip back into the past and bring up other concepts and then expand upon it. That's what you did. You brought up the mute zone, which is a past concept, but then you bring up the fact that hey, perfect place to merge this sentient vibranium is in this mute zone and make the antagonist someone who's like, I hate technology. You're constantly taking my metal and doing things I don't like with it. I like the mute zone because I can be myself and not be affected by you guys trying to turn me into something that I don't want to be. Brilliant.
Thank
My
you.
hat's off to you. I
Oh,
dig that. Is that something that you intentionally do, or is that just the way you write?
um, I feel like that's the most I don't want to say respectful because I mean it's just as good to go off and do your own thing and change things up. But it's very important to me to respect the writers that came before when you're working on an ongoing and when you're working on a character like Black Panther that has been around for decades.
Right.
You just don't want to go willy nilly and destroy everything. You want to kind of work off what has come before, which
Hmm.
is like so great because I'm coming from what Eve did. It's like she laid all those building blocks, that foundation for me to work on from there. So very grateful to her.
But you're also not afraid to do things on your own either, because you had the opportunity to work on this book on the left, Marvel Voices Spider Verse,
Oh
in which you
yes,
created what
that was a really fun project. That really was.
a fun project, and it showed in the writing. You created a new spider character, which we're going to bring up right here, called Recluse. How did Recluse come into being? And can you tell us
Um,
about it?
the creation or
Well, what was the idea behind? Well, first let's start with how did you get on the Marvel Voices book? Did you ask, or did they ask you, or did you have to pitch? How did it come into being?
they asked me because and for everything everyone asks me because I never think that anyone would say yes to me. So Whenever anyone asks me, it's like a complete surprise. So they asked me, and it's two to. I always say that. I mean, characters are kind of like babies, and it takes two. So, like, I'm just the writer. I'm just the mom. Um, so the design was nothing for me, and it's a beautiful design. Um, but for the history, um, I just wanted Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse should be fun. I mean, we always joke about, Parker luck and things like that. But at the end of the day, it should be a fun world. And I wanted something that was kind of true to the feeling of Spider-Man, but was also fun as well.
Well, the other thing I respected about Recluse, um, you made her of Caribbean heritage, which you talked
Oh yeah.
about being from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, but I'm also Jamaican from Brooklyn.
Hey,
So I appreciated the fact that you made like a Caribbean superhero. Although I don't think you specified what country or ethnic background she was specifically. Which one
I
in your mind was she?
I didn't, but I'm gonna do it right now. She's from St. Vincent because
I
I
is that
nobody
sounds like a
really notices that I sneak a tribute to my family in everything I write. Um, so for like Batman Secret Files, Yselle was named after my grandmother, partially. And then for this, I had the character from the Caribbean because my grandmother was basically, she was born here, but like my great grandfather was born there in St. Vincent, and Arlington sent her back to the islands. That was like his threat all the time. I'm going to send you back to the islands, and so that was kind of like the tribute to like that portion of the family. I put Perth Amboy in the longitude and latitude of the one of the stories, which is where I grew up. Um, and I have another grandmother who's from there. So yeah,
That's awesome. Um, let's see.
Barbados. My sister's from Barbados.
Chillmonger asked, "Would your name be in the movie credits if she appears in the Spider Verse?"
I honestly have no idea. That I do not know. Although I don't know if she's going to. Well, I shouldn't say that because you never know when someone's
Don't
going to be.
don't spoil it for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't jinx it. It may very well. All right. So then we move on to this other book I wanted to talk about just briefly. He also did this Thor book, like randomly. So Thor had this backup story for Black History Month. Was it earlier this year? Or was it last year? I think it was earlier this year. Thor
Yeah.
31 in February. Um, and you did the backup story involving Black Panther. What can you tell us about that? How did that experience come into being? Did they give you like we want you to do a Thor book and put Black Panther in it and pitch it, or did you? How did that come into being?
Again, came to me because I never think that anyone's going to say yes. I didn't even think about pitching. But it was basically they give me three things. It's for Black History Month.
Mhm.
Thor. It's a Thor backup and Black Panther. Um, And I was like, okay, I'm good to go. Thank you. I got it. And I didn't even know until I agreed that Chris Cross was the artist. Talk about like anxiety after finding it out. Like you're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna write this little, and then it's like, oh, who's the artist? Oh, it's Chris Cross.
Did you have the opportunity to meet him when you were at the Milestone Initiative?
No, I did not.
That's still cool that you ultimately got to work with him afterwards, though.
It's incredible, you know. So I guess they don't tell me like right away because they're like, oh, yeah, she's gonna be nervous. She's not. But yeah. So and I asked. I remember asking, can I have Bast? And they were like, sure. And I was like, good.
It's funny you should mention that because after the Ta-Nehisi Coates run, um, after issue 25, the final issue of his run, Bass goes off. and we don't see her for a while. I think this right here, this is the first time we see Bast since the Tiny Coast run. So that was kind of cool. And it's in her new form that she took on in that Coates run.
It's just
So I guess Marvel decided to kind of stick with that form of Bast.
it's so weird to me that these characters from these pantheons aren't used because they're amazing.
Well,
It's
we're
like
gonna
there's
get
so
into
much
this.
meat left on the table, you know?
We're
I
gonna
mean,
get into
Thor's
this.
amazing too. You know, Hercules is amazing too. But we've explored their lore and are still exploring their lore, and there's just like all these other pantheons that are just like, eh, and that bothers me because I'm just like, no, they should all be basically having an impact on the world of man, and they should be talked about more, and they should be visible more often.
I am so glad that you said that. What a great segue.
Uh,
So this is the theme that I wanted to bring up because I agree with you. The pantheon of gods is like a tremendously underexplored area at Marvel Comics. And if you want to be very super specific, the African parts of the pantheon of gods has been minusculely explored in the Marvel universe. And there's a plethora of room to do stuff in that universe with that pantheons, with those pantheons. And you this is kind of like the first sort of glimpse that we have of your feelings on that or your works or what you could do. I would like to call this, I consider this storyline, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, or if it's intentional or not, but I consider this storyline almost a prequel to what you did in Blood Hunt. Because in this, you have T'Challa seeing Bast, you're reestablishing the fact that Bast is familiar with Mjolnir and Odin from way back, which was established in the 1 million BC Marvel storyline. And then Bast goes to T'Challa and's like, look, I've got this temple in lower southern Egypt, which is kind of just, in that area right above the Sudan where Nubia was, what happened. So it all makes sense. I got this temple, and all my temples have all these gates. And this one temple in southern Egypt, the gate is open to the Duat, which is the land of the dead for the Inuit, which is the pantheon that Bast is from, one of the African pantheons. And we'll talk more about that in a second. And she says, bad stuff can come through, and I need you as my champion to go close the door, and you're going to need Thor and Mjolnir to do that. Now, immediately, I'm picking up on the fact that she's talking about the land of the dead. And I think about Fantastic Four, I always get this number wrong. I think it's 608, where Bast um, takes T'Challa, who's powerless at this point, depowered, and says, you know what? I'm not going to take away Shuri as Queen of Wakanda and the new Black Panther, but I recognize that you're my boy. I like you. So I'm going to make you king, but not king of Wakanda, king of the dead. And you're going to have all these powers where you have connections to all these prior Black Panthers. You'll have all of their knowledge and experience. And that's where his powers are coming from. And so he's the king of the dead, and he's sending her acolyte to defend this or to try to repair this gate that leads to the land of the dead. I just thought that was kind of an interesting connection that you established there. I didn't know if you did that intentionally or it was just a part of the storyline, but I was curious is if you were making those type of connections.
well, intentionally. But what I wanted was for Bast has Zenid, and she is a member of that pantheon. But she's
Okay.
not just a member of that pantheon, she's also a member of the Wakandan one. And
Mhm.
when she has issues with her family, I'd say, it's easier for her to have a champion from outside. I don't want to say do the dirty work because it's noble work. Do the noble work of kind of doing things that maybe she does not want her family discussing or does not want the rest of the pantheon knowing about, the Egyptian pantheon knowing about. leaving kind of Khonshu out of things, and leaving her sister out of things because they obviously do not get along. So I thought it would be interesting to have um, her go to T'Challa, a Wakandan, for a very Egyptian problem.
I've never thought of it like that. I've been reading Black Panther for all these years. I never thought about the fact that Bas basically has T'Challa doing all her dirty work for her. What a unique
What's the
perspective.
point of having a champion as a goddess
Yeah,
if you're not going to have them? If you're not going to send them on errands, that's the whole point of having a champion, is to have them working.
that's brilliant. I like that. And so, Thor and T'Challa go to the gate. Now, one of the things Bas says, what does it she say? There are things within the Duat that must not walk amongst the living. Should any escape, our world would be at risk, right? She says things like plural, like there are a lot of bad things in this gate. And she's like, go get there and close the gate. And when they get to the gate, the only person or the only entity you see is Amut. And you see the gate sort of torn open behind Amut. But who's to say he's the only thing that came through? Right?
Yes.
Um, this is why I wonder if this is like a prequel to a larger story. All of a sudden, Varnays just comes back. But moreover, just anything. Did you plan or try to intentionally like set up the possibility of some other things that might have come through the gate that before T'Challa and Thor showed up?
Yes. I left it open ended in two ways. One, we don't know what else escaped from the gate. And two, we don't know why Odin owes Bast a favor and
That's
still
right.
does owe her a favor.
Right. Right. And we're going to talk about that point again because someone else owes Bast a favor. So yeah, okay. So I'm seeing some themes in your writing that are kind of interesting. That keeps popping up. All right. So with all that, with all that, we're going to get into what the people have been clamoring for since issue 1. Let me tell you something. I'm not just saying this because you're on the show, but I can honestly tell you when this book dropped, our space in particular was going crazy. I was going crazy. I was like, what the hell did I just read? I had people understand. I consider the best one shot on Black Panther ever done to be Jeffrey Thorne's King in Black one shot. And my boy Mark, who I do a show with every Friday, we routinely always talk about that. And for the first time, we're looking at each other like there might be some competition for the number 1 spot. And this wasn't even a one shot. This was only the first opening salvo of a 3-issue run. That's how good and impactful that first issue was. And it only got better from there, which I can't fathom. But
Well, listen, not everybody has free Karami as a road dog. So
yeah, like where did this guy come from?
when that art first came in, I was flip like you said, you went crazy. I went crazy. I was doing cartwheels around the house. Like his art style is just
Did they
impressive.
assign him to you, or did you request him, or did they give you like a choice of like several and you pick one?
I did not even know this. I signed on not knowing who the artist is. And then I asked Will because I was like, I better find out who the artist is before and he was like, oh, free Karami. And then what I found out later on was that Fareed actually had a choice of projects to work on, and he chose mine.
Wow.
So he
This
was
this
like, yeah, I want to be a partner in this. And I was like, that's crazy.
this is the type of Chillmonger says, where did this guy come from?
You know what? We're both contest winners. I was part of Milestone.
Yeah.
Fareed was part of Top Cows.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Mark Silvestri's group.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mark Silvestri. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's dope.
So yeah.
Um, that means he came from good stock as well
Yeah.
in terms of his training. He's got the type of talent that like he could literally have his choice of whatever he wants to do. That
Yeah,
was
he's
amazing.
being very secretive. He's like putting up art, but with my deductive reasoning, I really think that he's probably going to show up on Avengers.
Are you allowed to say that? I don't get you.
Well, listen, I'm not saying that this is the case because he's being very secretive. He's not telling. But just from the panels that he's showing and the characters that he's showing, it just seems like Avengers. That's all I'm saying. I know
Okay.
Avengers has a dedicated artist, but I'm wondering if he's just going to pop up for a storyline here or there.
All right. I don't need CB Cebulski or Tom Brevoort going, yeah, no more interviews with Black comic lords. I don't want people talking about get in trouble with those guys.
All
All right.
my own thinking. This is all my own
All
thinking.
right.
So
As long as we
don't go to
establish.
Fareed and say she spilled the beans because he has not. He is not the Tom Holland of the crew. I found out that I'm the Tom Holland of the crew when it comes to spilling secrets. He has remained tight-lipped about what the project is. So
We might need a disclaimer, Derek, for Cheryl Lynn. I think she might require a disclaimer. Grand Madam Terror artwork. Now we've got you covered, Cheryl Lynn.
okay,
You cannot
good.
be held responsible for anything you say from this point forward. All right. So um, let's get into these books. I spent a lot of time going through this. As you know, if you're just joining us, understand this is not a spoiler-free show. I'm gonna spoil the hell out of these books because there's a lot of there was a lot to review, and quite honestly, I had a lot of questions because it was just that
Hey,
good.
we warned everybody
We
multiple
warned.
times.
All right, just get your popcorn. All right, so we start off with T'Challa going to Wakanda after being turned into a vampire. He's trying to heal himself. He approaches Bast. Um, you know, the previous Black Panthers, the previous kings in the forms of these panthers are offended when he goes to the Temple of Bast to try and ask Bast to heal him of his vampiric affliction, and they're offended. They say you've sullied this temple, and this particular panther says a debt must be paid. Oh my God, the foreshadowing. What's the debt that's going to have to be paid? I don't expect you to answer this question, but I had to ask the question anyway.
I can't answer that question. I can't answer that question just in the amazing case that I might have a chance to explore something else.
Okay. Let
But
me
I
rephrase.
do, like I said, I leave things open just in case
Oh, you
they
left a
come
lot
back
of
and
things.
say, "Hey, you have another job."
All right. I think it's called job security. The
Yeah.
doors that you left open in your writing. Because the fans are clamoring for more, including myself. Let me rephrase my question properly. In your own head, do you have what that debt that he must pay back? Without telling us what it is, do you have an idea in your head as to what the debt he'll have to pay back?
Not completely, no.
Not completely. All right. So it's truly open ended. That's fine.
Yeah.
I had to ask. So then this is where we get into you do a lot of foreshadowing. In this is what made this issue so cool. You drop all these lines, and the readers are like, "Wait, what? What was that?" It says Wakanda will never fall again. Fall again? When the hell will Wakanda fall? What are you talking about? And then we are slave to neither man nor God. It's like projecting much. Like what is going on? Um, I just want I only put this here because I love the fact that in your opening salvo, you drop these lines which has the reader going, what is going on? What are you talking about here? Is that just part of your writing style? Did you do that intentionally, or what
Well,
was the thinking behind it?
it was set. Well, now this is going to be spoilers, but it was basically set
Oh,
up
what's
for Barney. They say that they are slave to neither man nor God. They're not going to fall to a man or an Atlantean, and they are not going to fall to a god or someone who thinks that they are going to become a god,
Demon. The
which
demon.
is right.
Yeah. So this is in essence foreshadowing to what happens, the flashback that we get in the subsequent issue.
Yeah, and I don't consider them slaves to Bast. Um, they have willingly chosen to serve Bast, and that's a difference. It's they've embraced Bast on their own. They have come to Bast on their own. It's not like something that is forced, which would have been if Varney had been able to succeed during that time, what he intended to do.
Um, I want to bring up this comment from Mr. YouTube. Black Panther Blood Hunt feels like an ongoing. Marvel, do the right thing and make Cheryl Lynn Eaton the new writer on Black Panther. I can't say that I disagree with that. In fact, I will say that I even tweeted that today, that you have the Cult of Bast nominates Cheryl Lynn Eaton as the new writer of our acolyte, T'Challa, to write about the exploits and feats of our great king. That's you.
Would love that, and I would love to have the entire team back, the
Yeah.
entire crew back together.
Good
Working
luck
with
getting
Bree has
Fareed
been
again.
amazing. Andrew Dollhouse, the colors, oh my goodness, has been amazing. And poor Josephina, who had to deal that script. All the like, I even like I wrote him. I don't know if he saw it, but I wrote him a thank you note in
Really?
either the last issue of two or three. No, it was three, because I was like, you had to deal with a disembodied voice, two different pantheons, Atlanteans, like just all of these and Khonshu, who has a crazy voice on his own. And he just handled it all amazingly. We threw so many weird sounding things at him, and he handled all of it with ease. And so grateful. I really am, because letterers, it's not, it's an undervalued job, and the work they do is so important, but you don't really notice how important it is until the lettering is bad.
Right.
And since the lettering here was excellent, you just don't think, when the lettering is excellent, you don't think about it. You don't think about it until you're like, oh, this lettering is horrible.
Like
So I just wanted to,
little nuances, like how he bolds heart-shaped herb,
yeah,
and he bolds shield and avenge. Like, those little details that letterers do that people don't even pick up on,
yeah.
even though it influences their reading. Speaking of this panel, you have T'Challa ingest the heart-shaped herb as a boost up. Um, and I love the fact that you did that, because when I remember reading Blood Hunt and seeing T'Challa get turned into a vampire, and me and my boy Mark were like, well, how's that possible? He's got like a healing factor that should like overcome the vampirism. And you kind of explain, he takes this other heart-shaped herb to help heal that and stable him. So I thought that was brilliant. Um, I have a request. If you are indeed have another opportunity to write Black Panther, I have a request.
Okay. Let
I
me
need
let
my
me
man to keep these eyes. I love the cat eye look on T'Challa, and I know I'm probably in the minority on this.
Oh, I don't know if you're gonna get that past editorial. I don't. It's
I
funny
think
because
cat eye
people
looks
either
cool.
love it or they hate it. It's like a dividing line right down the middle of people who who dig it and who don't.
I know. As I said, I know probably in the minority in it. I remember seeing the cat eye thing in volume 2 of Black Panther. And I just remember always thinking the yellow cat eye thing looked kind of cool, just kind of set him apart, because that's the one power he has on all the time, which is he can see in the dark. So having the cat eyes, I thought was kind of cool.
You can blame
Just
me for that
my
if you're mad about it. I am the reason for the cat eyes. I asked for. I was like, free. This would look pretty cool, wouldn't it? Just for and so yeah, I'm the problem for that. But in good news, it's probably not going to last. I'm sure Will is going to be
no,
like, yeah,
I like the cat eyes. I want it to last, but yeah, I think Taylor loves she likes to too. Azure Beast agrees. Cat Eye should stay.
I didn't realize that T'Challa would be so handsome as a vampire. A lot of people didn't realize that. But I think it's just for Reed's art. But it's just like, wow,
Yeah,
he's
Freed's
still
heart
look pretty good.
doesn't hurt. Um, the Odze, is this a real thing?
Yeah, it actually is. And I am gonna get yelled at. I will. I don't know if I'm gonna get yelled at, but it's from Ghana. It's a legend from Ghana, and I remember saying in the script, I was like, "That's a pretty far off place from where we are in the story." But I'm just gonna say that she travels really fast because I just kind of was like reading about uh, the lore, and I was like, "This is too cool not to use." My God.
Yeah.
So I had to put her in. I had to put her in. But yeah, she's real. Design is
I
not the design is off read though. Like that is not what she looks like in depictions of her. Fareed
really.
is like, yeah, she's Firefly based, and that's all I told Fareed. I was like, Firefly based monster, vampire, powers, and he was like, yeah, and you see the results. So amazing character design.
Was it just that easy working with Freed? Like just here's what I want, and he just comes back with fire stuff. You're like, yep, that's cool. Or, I mean, did you give him
I'm
direction?
so unbelievably lucky, knock on all the wood, because I'm scared that like I'm gonna get like a dud next time. But like every single artist I have been able to work with has been amazing,
Yeah,
from all the way from Bitch Planet to now. And
yeah.
I keep worrying that I'm gonna be stuck with somebody terrible, but it hasn't happened yet. Every time I get a winner every time. I love it. So, but I'm so afraid my luck is gonna. Terrified that my luck is gonna run out.
So again, pointing out to the fact that you pay attention to what happened before. You pay attention to what other writers have done before you, and you don't forget it. You don't ignore it. You don't shy away from it. You bring it back. You expound upon it. You're not a lazy writer, is what I'm saying. And I appreciate that. You bring back the Hatut Zoraze and the Dora Milaje, who we know got sort of disbanded, so to speak, but it's a crisis and it makes perfect sense. Hey, it's a crisis. Wakanda's being invaded. People are dying left and right. And the Hatut Zoraze and the Dora Milaje reform, and T'Challa makes note of it. You know, they're coming back. Um,
I think when you pledge allegiance to a country to protect a country, and that country needs you, even if you've been disbanded, it's just like, okay, the calls come in. What are we gonna do? And so you come together and you do what you can. It's a very difficult situation for them to be in. But I knew that they would come back. They would not leave the country defenseless. What were they gonna do? Sit there and watch on TV like, damn, that's a shame. No, they would get, get out there, just like T'Challa is doing anything he can to get out there.
there is, and you're probably not going to know this. Um, there is a run. How can I phrase this without getting in trouble? There is a run by a particular writer on Black Panther, whose name I won't say, um, that I, for lack of a better term, despised. So uh, in that run, I saw a lot of uncharacteristic um, characterizations, a lot of the characters in terms of what they were doing, their motivations, how they spoke, and what have you. And what you just said is kind of the opposite of that, is that you pointed out, hey, at the end of the day, despite if they're banished or disbanded, the character of the Dora Milaje, the character of the Hatut Zaraze, is their loyalty to Wakanda. And of course, they're going to put on the garb, the uniform, and go defend their country because that's part of their character. That simple recognition, fans like me really appreciate that you did something like that. So thank you.
This is not canon. this is just me, so I can't get in trouble.
I already played the disclaimer. You can say whatever you like.
Okay. I think that Wakanda's been dealing with a lot of failure as of late. And
Oh, so you go in there. Okay, go ahead.
so for me, it was important for me to show um, that that failure isn't on the people. That is a failure of the government. And sometimes failures of government are intentional due to corruption. And I'll just leave it at that.
Wow. You spoke volumes in such few words. Thank you.
That's just my take on Wakanda. That is
Sure.
not everybody's take. That is not the canon take. That is just the way I see Wakanda at this point.
Well, let's talk about that. So here's the thing. Um, I consider, and I don't, you don't have to speak on this because you probably got NDAs and stuff like that, but I consider this Black Panther Blood Hunt run to be canon. And I think there's more than enough evidence to prove that because Blood Hunt certainly is taking place in the 616 universe and continuity. And whenever you have these big crossover events with other tie-ins, I think it's pretty well established that that's part of Marvel canon. So you as having an official tie-in to that overall crossover big Marvel event, biggest event of the summer, honestly, so far, um, means that everything that you did here is canon, and I'm happy for that because some problems or criticisms that I've had of how the character has been portrayed of late, um, you did the opposite of that and reestablished how the character T'Challa was T'Challa again, and I appreciated the way that you handled the character. So I'm happy, and I really truly believe this is canon, and I'm happy for that. On your take,
We had an incredible, like I said, we had an incredible foundation laid by the team that was right before us. So many thanks to that crew for laying the building blocks.
Mhm.
And
uh,
hopefully we'll serve as Farid and I will serve as building blocks for whatever. Well, actually, we know it's next. Predator versus Black Panther is next. So,
do you have? That's actually a reasonable question. I don't know who's. Do you know who's writing Predator versus Black Panther?
oh yeah, Percy.
Percy.
Yeah,
What's his face from Wolverine?
yeah,
Benjamin Percy.
I think so. I think his first name's Benjamin. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Has he talked to you about your run? Do you writers talk to like, hey, I saw that you just wrote this thing. I'm writing the next one. Any tips or anything that I can borrow? Or you guys talk to each other?
I think he needs tips from me. He is established with like a bazillion long run on Wolverine. But
Eh,
no, what
there's
I
not
got
much.
basically was to start off. What I got was Eve Ewing's run on Black Panther, and then the
Yeah.
editorial's like, "You're good to go." And luckily, I had other Black Panther work.
Wait,
Um,
wait, wait. Back up. Pause. Did you just say Marvel gave you the Eve Ewing run as reference, and the rest you sort of did on your own?
Well, so that makes them sound bad. It's they give you the very last,
No,
they
I
give
was
you the
gonna,
very
I was
last
gonna,
thing,
I
so
was
that you're
view
just
that
like,
as
so they
a
have
compliment.
like a thorough. And I'm sure they probably assumed and they were correct that I knew about past stuff, so they didn't have to. I'm sure if I had asked for it, they would have sent me anything that I asked for. But I already
I,
had some things.
I, if anything, I view that as a compliment because that means that you took the initiative on your own or had your own knowledge and used that to draw on to write all the highly detailed stuff that you put in your book that I hope a lot of people appreciate who reads this. I mean, I think people will have to read your run a few times to recognize all the little nuances. That's why I'm being meticulous and going through all these pages, because you packed a lot of stuff in a very small space. And I don't know if people really understand how much stuff, really cool stuff you packed in there, and how much details, research, homework went into that. And so I'm giving you mad props, honestly.
Yeah. She like a puzzle because they give you working with it. I don't know if I mean, obviously I'd want to do it because the job's, you want to work, but it's very different than writing an ongoing because for a tie-in, you get a starting point
Right.
and you get an end point. And you can't just be doing anything, you feel like doing. You can't just be, hey, I'm going to start with him as king back on the. No, you are not, because your editor is not going to let you do that. You are
Right.
starting with him leaving the impossible city, and you are ending with that temple in the middle of Central Park.
Did you ask for that? Did you ask, hey, can I start with him as a king? And they were like,
No,
no,
I,
that's not
I
his.
knew that they weren't going to. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I asked for one thing I did ask for, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. What I did ask for, and they said no. I asked for Storm, and they said no. And then I asked for Namor, and they said no. And I understand why they said no, because the mutants had their own thing going on. Mutants were off the table. They were not having a good time of things. So I completely understand that no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think,
I asked for Doom, and they said yes. And I was shocked, but I wasn't going to let that go to waste. So I was like, okay, yeah. Um, I asked for Doom and they said yes. And they asked if I could add Shuri. And I was like, well, I was going to put Shuri in there anyway. So that is not a problem. So that was it. And pretty much that they just kind of let us go and see what we did. And I was like, well, I'll figure if I do anything that's out of bounds, they'll pull it back and say, no, you can't do that, So, but they were pretty lenient in what we were allowed to go for.
yeah, I think it's been pretty well established, based on other people we've talked to, that the mutant part of Marvel, it's its own entity. They're like
Yeah.
their own little clique, club, fraternity, sorority, whatever you want to call it, cult. They're their own little thing.
Yeah, you can't just request characters willy-nilly. There's a
Right.
whole process.
That character's got to
But I
register with
learned
you.
there's a whole process.
You can't touch the mutants
Yeah.
without being going through some type of initiation, apparently. All
Yeah.
right, so you mentioned Doom, and T'Challa gives a very foreboding warning. And this is what I'm talking about with your writing. You keep leaving these Easter egg open end. I swear you're trying to invest in job security on the next job, because you keep introducing these little foreboding, foreshadowing statements like, whatever you do, don't talk to Doom. And you're like, I understand that T'Challa would have beef with Doom because, what's happened in the past, Doom War, what have you. But that seems like a very foreboding, do not go to Doom. And, you know,
The
do you
thing is
have
that Fareed
plans?
and I got to read Blood Hunt before it was a comic. We read the script. And I even knew what was going to happen in some of the tie-ins. And I was just like, all these people, I mean, they were great tie-ins, and Blood Hunt is fantastic, but it's like all these people are going to Doom. And that is like I said, there's 3 rules to survive in the Marvel universe. Okay. 1, do not mess with the timeline.
Right.
2, don't ask Doom for anything. And 3, mind your business. And a lot of people have not paid attention to number 2. And they are going to Doom and asking for help. I understand Strange Academy, they're kids, they're babies. They don't know any better. They don't know any
But
better.
Shuri has
Shuri,
history with Doom.
Strange, and
She
I guess
knows where Doom comes from.
desperate times um, lead to desperate measures, because a lot of people are asking Doom for help or assistance because, listen, Latveria is vampire free, which is very curious. In fact, I remember you having discussion about it, and you said that Wakanda should have been just as prepared
Wait,
as.
you actually watch our show?
Like I said, I've seen shows before. I've seen these shows before with other interviews and things like that. And I remember you discussing that Wakanda should have um, made preparations.
Right.
They should have had preparations, and I agree.
Yeah.
Um, but it seems like, and I don't want to say this because I don't know like what they have in store for
Go
Doom,
ahead and say what
but
you want to say.
it seems to me like Doom has been interfering in things for a lot longer than we've thought. And it just seems like he's one step ahead of everybody else. And
Right.
I don't like that. And I think people are a little too trusting of Doom. And I think they tend to, and I'm guilty of this. I am definitely guilty of this with Magneto, so I shouldn't even say anything. But they tend to woobify Doom and like, oh, he's had a hard life. And, like, and Doom's a villain. Doom is a whole villain, okay? That man should not be trusted. He really shouldn't have been in the Illuminati. And it burns me when characters trust Doctor Doom. Like that is like my biggest pet peeve is when characters trust Doctor Doom or when they ask him for stuff.
You
Because I am.
know, it's like you know how the story's gonna end, right?
Well, yeah, you know, who was going to be
Um,
Doom?
right.
You know,
Look,
and Doom in charge is not a good thing. We have seen that multiple times. Just recently with the Hickman Green book.
right.
When Doom is left in charge, things go very, very wrong. And it's very funny that Doom kind of thinks that he's above it all and the answer to everything. And oh, I should be sorcerer supreme. And what? And bring Galactus here to eat the entire Marvel universe, to eat Earth. Like what things? I'm just saying that Doom is not the end all be all that he claims
Doom is
that
the
he is.
epitome of like a Napoleonic complex.
Yeah.
Not in his stature, but in terms of his ego and his achievements. This guy always has a chip on his shoulder about having to prove that he's better than everyone else. And I suspect that's in large part because of his very humble beginnings, being the son of a gypsy. And he's like, look at all that I've achieved. He's that guy. He's new money, right? He's nouveau riche. He's the guy who came up from the gutter, and he wears all the extra gold to prove his wealth, to have people, in the hopes that everyone shows him some respect.
I think
Um,
And I do feel some sympathy for Doom because of his Roma heritage. In the same way, I feel sympathy for Magneto. But the thing is that I think I'm more sympathetic towards Magneto because the humans keep screwing with him no
yeah,
matter what. They didn't like leave him like they have left Doom alone. Doom has his country now,
yeah,
okay?
right,
They're not invading every like 2 years. They've left him alone to lead his country as he sees fit. They have not left Magneto alone. So I can understand when Magneto kind of pops off and it's like, listen, I'm sick of these humans. I feel that in my heart
right.
because they won't leave him alone. But Doom
I
is just like, you know what? I've accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. Look at the heights that I've reached, and now I'm respected and I'm gonna screw with people. Like, why are you evil now? Like, what is there's no reason that he has his country, he has everything he could ever want, well, except for his mom, but like almost everything else that he could ever want. He's safe, and yet he still cannot stop. It's very Thanos behavior that
yeah,
even at you just can't help yourself, even though you know that you should stop. You just can't help yourself. And I think that's the difference between Doom and Magneto is that Magneto, if the humans had left mutants alone, if I think he would have been happy to just have Krakoa and just you know.
Doom's all about forming his little mutant Liberia. If you give him his own space where he can hang out with mutants, he's good. He's not messing with anybody. But you know, as you say, they keep messing with the dude. So yeah, I have some sympathy towards Magneto. Um, so after T'Challa gives the disclaimer, "Don't go to Doom," Shuri goes to Doom,
To
and
her credit,
Doom.
she does not give him any information.
Well, she in a way she does because Doom is like, "Where's your brother?" She's like, "I don't know." And he's like, "The fact that you don't know where your brother is really gives me pause, and I don't want to deal with you." He's very dismissive of her, like, "I ain't dealing with you. I want to deal with the guy who's the king." He's not the king. Well, that makes me even less want to deal with you people because you don't even have a king. You've got some roughshod government that's not working. You can't even protect your own people. And that was kind of the discussion that me and my boy were having that you said you saw earlier was, yeah, Wakanda should have had defenses to prevent vampires from coming in. I mean, friggin' Null invaded with his army to Wakanda, and they had, oh well, don't worry about that. We got our, you know, guys you killing Phoenix Force killing Mecha Panther all set to fight stuff like this, so we're good. That's the Wakanda that should have been preparedness. But that was Wakanda under the leadership of a king, T'Challa. This
Just say this.
parliamentary government's a mess.
I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna get in trouble at this interview. I will just say this. The fact, to me, this is not canon. This is not canon. This is just me saying. To me, looking at it, the situation, before I started writing, it seemed to me that Wakanda was not prepared because of government corruption. The
Absolutely.
question is, who corrupted that government?
Well, look, that's a question that did not get answered because the person who wrote about that corruption was Dr. Eve Ewing, and her run ended at 15 with T'Challa saying, "I'm going to the Golden City to figure out what the hell is going on with all the corruption in the government." So that story still hasn't been written yet, and you're the writer who should be doing it.
Like I said, she left amazing, the whole team left amazing building blocks to work with.
Yes. Ooh, I
First of
love
all, I see that
Killmonger's
comment.
too.
I see that comment, and I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to
I
say anything, but I'm just
like
saying
where your head's at.
that government corruption requires someone to be corrupted and someone to do the corrupting. That's all I'm going to say because I will
Boy,
get in
look
trouble
at
if
Doom
I
right here on
say
this page
anything
right
else.
now as you say that. Someone who has experience corrupting Wakandan officials. Two more. Jonathan Mayberry. Okay. Excellent. Good, 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 good. All right. So let's jump back a bit. I kind of went on a side panel. I do that sometimes. I apologize. All right. So
Hopefully, it didn't get me in trouble.
you're not going to get in trouble. No one's going to see this. All right. So you end issue 1 with this very did you suggest this? Did Fareed do this on his own? This
I
homage to
it might be cool if you did that, but you don't have to do it. Like I always fear that I'm like, am I being too pushy? So it's like it might look cool, but you don't like I told him, I was like, this is how I see it in my head. You can switch anything up that you want. Because I know that you are the artist and you're gonna know better than me. But I was like, you know what, that might look cool, and I think that I shouldn't say this. I'm saying a lot of things I shouldn't say. But when I write a story, not only do I want to write a good story, but I want to write something that will be fun for the artist to draw. And I
right.
want to write something that will make the artist money. That I know that when I think of a splash page, I want them to be like, oh yeah, they can sell that splash page for a grip. Like I want it to be something that, you know, they can either make bank off of or something that they can just like hang up and be like, yeah, that was my
Yeah, let's you and I talk about that after we're done with this interview. All right, so moving on. Moving on. So you introduce Varney. You said Marvel is the one who said, "I want you to use Varney in the story," which is a smart move. Whoever suggested that.
Actually, they didn't
But
suggest that. They just said that Varney is the big bad.
really,
Yeah, they didn't
wow,
suggest that he's Varney.
Varney's the big bad, and that's all they gave you.
Yeah, and they gave me the rundown for Blood Hunt.
Okay, but you had to tie it all together.
Well, I didn't have to. I mean, like, not everybody uses Varney. I didn't have to use Varney. But when the pitch I sent back had Varney in it, because I was like, well, if he's the big bad, then I definitely need to use him. How can I use him? Um,
The way you tied it to Wakanda's past, considering first of all, most people aren't familiar with Varney. I mean, this cat hasn't been around a lot since maybe the '90s, early 2000s. I think is probably the last time he popped up on a radar screen somewhere. Um, but he's been
and
around
that
for a
is
long.
all Wells. That is no, not Wells. That is all McKay, Jed McKay. So
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
the one. He is the crate digger who was like, I'm going to bring him back. That wasn't me. That was that was McKay.
Did you talk to Jed McKay about what you're going to do on this, or did he talk to you? Did you guys have any interaction?
No, I didn't. But like I said, they send the scripts. So I
Okay.
had scripts for 1 through 5, the whole series,
Yeah.
in the beginning. So there were things that he did that I was like, oh, that's really cool. I want to do that too. Like the sun death, where he uses that in the beginning. I
Mhm.
was like, okay, that I want something that kind of like thematically works. So I use that as well. And the big bad was Varney. I was like, well, I mean, I want to, tie in the big bad as well.
Vagrant's
Spoilers, but
asking.
also spoilers for everybody that I feel so bad. Oh, my website is my name.com, CherylLynnEaton.com.
There you go. And there's also this. We also posted here your legal League of Comic Geek entry page, which has all of your credits on there. All right, so I wanted to zoom in on this lower part of this page here because you say here, I circled it. The stranger said there was a bounty to be found on the other side of the river. He's shown with ornaments the likes of which we had never seen before, brilliant than gold, stronger than iron, the two substances that the god Ta is responsible for. He said it could all be ours if we would follow him. We did not know the metal would serve as our chains. So again, Varney's the big bad. You decide, you know what? I'm going to tie this ancient guy to Wakanda's past. And this is what I'm talking about with, I think if people haven't read this or not familiar with it, or they've read it and they really didn't tie it all together, over time, people will truly have a lot of respect or more respect for your run because it's only 3 issues. And this issue in particular, I personally, and I'm an avid Black Panther fan and collector, I consider this a Black Panther key issue because you basically establish the origins of Wakanda, which they've talked about, but no one's actually ever shown how Wakanda was formed. And you did that. You tied it. I mean, you're talking about vibranium landed in this area. Coates talked about, well, the early settlers of Wakanda pushed out the originators with the Orisha's help, and they formulated Wakanda. That's basically all we know. But you're actually showing hands, on what happened. Um, so I mean, I when I read that part, I was like, wait, what's going on in this issue? What is she talking about? And he just got deeper and deeper, and then you're showing the two gods, the Khonshu and Bast, gods from the Ennead, which we haven't seen together in a long time.
They let me have Khonshu. That was another one that I asked for. So Doom and Khonshu were the guys that I asked for, and they said
So
yes.
you intentionally had that set up from the very beginning.
Yeah, I had it set up from the very beginning because one, I love the Egyptian pantheon. They're just messy and amazing. And two, it bothered me so much that you had gods from countries on two different sides of the continents in one pantheon. It just did not make sense. So my whole like thing was like, this does not make sense, and it bothers me that they're calling Bass and Arisha. It just bothers me. It doesn't make any sense. So it's like,
Right.
how did this come to be that
Right. Right.
she is a part of this pantheon when she has this whole other family, you know, countries away? Well, not too many countries, like one or two.
We're gonna get into that because you did something that I think no one really picked up on. So we're going to talk about that. But in this one panel here, you specify East African pantheon and West African pantheon. You specify that Ennead is the East African. You specify the Orisha or the West African pantheon. Have the two of them ever been in the same comic book ever before in a story?
They have to have been,
I
right?
don't know. I don't know. Maybe in that Thor annual 10 when they had all the pantheon. I don't know. Somebody, one of these smart people who's smarter than I am will tell us the answer to that, I'm sure. Anyway, that warrants some research. Um and then Bast begins to talk about Wakanda's early history. And one of the things Blade kept talking to him about is you're the last of the first. And he finally asked Bast, Blade said the same thing to me. What is that? What is this last of the first thing? It's like you're from the original line of people, the first people to settle this land. He is the last of those first people. You know what I actually think as a tangential thing that goes through my mind when I think about this? Part of being royalty and being a king, part of your job is to have a bunch of kids. You're supposed to like procreate and extend the legacy and the heir and the line. That almost seems like a foreboding title to have. You're the last of the first. Like, if you die, what happens to the line? I mean, technically they're short, but
Yeah.
you know, the child needs to have some kids. I, was there any like forebodingness in going through your mind when you gave him that title, the last of the first?
No,
Almost.
because he can always have kids, and Shuri is there. So I didn't. It wasn't foreboding. It was just T'Challa's been knocked around a lot,
A lot.
and I wanted it. I wanted the story to feel like T'Challa is him. You know, like he's that dude, and
You
I
want to give
wanted
the
to.
swag back.
Yes, I wanted him to. Get some. I don't want to say arrogance, but to me, um, T'Challa doesn't need to be humbled. And
Say that part louder again for the people in the
T'Challa,
back.
I don't think that T'Challa needs to be humbled. There are things that he needed to learn, and I think multiple writers have done a great job in T'Challa learning and growing.
Yeah.
But I don't think he needed a humbling. And I wanted, even though I know that he was like he had fallen prey to Blade and he was serving someone else. I wanted to emphasize that Wakandans may have a broken government, but they aren't a broken people. And T'Challa is that dude.
Yeah.
T'Challa is king or not, he is that dude. Um, Heart, soul, mind, all of it. And so I kind of wanted the last of the first to show this man is important and should be treated as if he is important.
Cheryl Lynn, I think
Message.
you got a brother tearing up on the live. You can't do that to me. All right. So you introduce on this next page the pantheon. We talked about these pantheons, and we've got these two pantheons coming together, the Orisha and the Ennead. And on behalf of the Orisha, you've got Ta, Eshu, and well, kind of Gekri. We'll get to that in a sec. And on behalf of the Ennead, you've got Bast and you've got Khonshu. These particular characters, the Orisha specifically, the first time they were actually introduced in a Marvel comic was in the Coates run. I think it was volume 6, issue 13, if I'm not mistaken. I might be, but I don't think I am. And so you've got, Bast, you've got Kokal, Mujaji, Kokal, the god of strength and the god of war. Bast, the Panther goddess, we know her. Mujaji, the one who feeds the hungry in times of famine. Thoth, basically the god of knowledge, basically for all intents and purposes. Ta, the shaper of metals, specifically gold and I guess silver. These are Wakanda's Orisha. This is their pantheon. And what's interesting, you have the character Gekri here, and there's this other book. I don't know if I put this here. Hold on, let me look for it. I apologize. I should have prepared this part better. Gekri, I can't really tell what part he actually comes from. There's this book called Thor and Hercules, the Encyclopedia Mythologica. This is technically Marvel's Bible on the pantheon of gods.
And
Very hard.
I hope I can find what this because one of the writers of that book actually tweeted. Let me see if I can find it.
Really? There are like two entries in this book for the African pantheon. The two African pantheons. One on the left, I can never say this word, Heliopolitans, which is the Ennead. It's another word for the Ennead. And then on the right, you've got the Vodou. Obviously, the Heliopolitans are what we typically know of as the Egyptian gods. You got your Bast, you've got your Khonshu, you've got your Lion God, Sekhmet, etc. On the Vodou, you've got gods like Shango, you've got Anansi. But over here to the right, as you see, with that necklace, which looks very familiar, same necklace T'Challa often wears, is Gekri. And Gekri, the gorilla god Gekri, god of judgment. Gekri, who would later be worshipped as the gorilla god by the white gorilla cult of Wakanda's Jabari tribe. So he was actually considered part of this Vodou pantheon. And I was like, well, that would mean there's like 3 pantheons, because there's the Ennead, the Vodou, the West African, then you got the Orisha as well. And I was like mad confused. But then I did research. I was like, let me channel my Cheryl Lynn Eaton and do some research. And it saw that the Fawn of Benin refer to, and this is the Orisha, the definition of Orisha. The people of Benin refer to the Orisha as the Vodouns. So in essence, what you did was kind of like formed 3 pantheons in the Marvel Universe, because you kind of merged in Gekri with this Orisha one, and sort of, I don't know. Wakanda has its own pantheon of gods at this point, I think, is what your issues kind of pull together.
I wish I could have found the tweets, and I will look for them after we are done because they are that important. The writer of this book stated that Gekri was based on an actual African god. I believe it
Right,
was Benin, but I'm not positive.
right.
I know it's West African, but I'm not sure which country. Um, but he actually states which country. I just don't remember at this time. So Gekra isn't just like this Marvel, you know, character. He's actually rooted in an actual god. So it's not like they
Right.
just stuck him in there to like, hey, we need somebody in there. Um, but he actually has a legitimate, I would say legit, but yeah, a legitimate reason to be there. It's not like,
Yeah, the
oh, we need
writer of
someone.
this book actually did their research. I mean, it's very highly detailed.
I mean, they really dug in, and that's gonna sound terrible. I was gonna say it's sad though that like they did all this work, and it was just like no one picked up on it for so long, you know, and
That's my
it's
point. That's my
like
point. You like ran with this concept of the Panther. Literally, you can count on one hand how many times these gods have been mentioned in these books, have actually had appearances, and you like tied it all together into Wakanda's history, and also and also the history of the founding of Wakanda, and why were these gods from these different pantheons thrown together and now established, in essence, a Wakandan pantheon of gods. Your story does that.
I get
I thought that was
because I
cool.
because I need a reason for it to make sense. I was like, it doesn't make sense. This does not make sense. They're from two separate countries. There needs to be a reason. So I made a reason for it to make sense. And now I'm satisfied and I'm happy. And apologies to anyone who thinks I overstepped my bounds, but it bothered me so much and I had to. I just had to go in and change that. And now I am happy and can I've done diligence.
Now, not so fast. Not so fast.
But I will say that
You're
like
not-
this did not come from anywhere because from out of nowhere because I since I was little, I have been obsessed with Greek and Roman myths.
Wow.
So anytime you add a new pantheon that especially if it's messy, like the Egyptian oh yeah, I'm all for it. So I'm just like these people are just as messy as the Greco-Roman gods. Why aren't we using them? Like and it's crazy to me that like I think someone had said that this was like the first time in like a very long time that like Bast and Khonshu had a conversation.
Right.
And I'm just like, we should be interacting all the time. I don't understand.
Their their family cookout messy.
Yeah.
They're messy. Like their interactions with each other. But we're not done. So if you pay attention to these pictures, you notice this little cat, this feline cat looking
I
thing.
know what you're gonna ask.
Oh,
I
you
figured
know
it out.
what I'm going to ask. You've done your research.
No, no, that's all for Reed. That is all
Fareed
for
came up
Reed.
with this on his own
Yes.
because
I said I asked for a little cat to be in the story, the design, and to make the cat look different from all the Panthers was Fareed's. So he
well,
did that. He did that
let
crate
me
digging
ask you what was going through your mind when you said Fareed put a little cat in the story.
because Fast sees through cats. So I was just like, I need someone who's small enough to get in that temple. It should be a little cat. That's cute. And I was like, Fareed, do a little cat. And I did not expect him to do a cat with the markings that are like similar to like he just was like, oh, bet. And just like for all the crate digging that I did, Fareed does just as much crate digging on the
So
artistic side.
shout out to
More
Fareed
crate digging
because
on the artistic side.
for those of you who are like, what the hell is he going on about a cat for? This is what Fareed did. He introduced Killaluna, Bast's sister, also known as the Betrayer, also known as the god who gave Killmonger his power up, gave Killmonger his powers. If you read Brian Edward Hill, shout out to Brian Edward Hill, his run on Killmonger, you familiar with this character. The markings on this character are very similar to the markings on this cat, which makes sense because this is Bast's little sister. That is that's creators doing their work, man.
And
This
it's
is what I'm talking
100%
about.
Fareed. 110% Fareed. It
Look,
just
this is
amazing. amazing. I've been spoiled. I just
Like I said, time after tonight, as people more and more people read this book and pull it apart, they're going to realize just how much work went into all the details and Easter eggs you put in this book are crazy. The fact that Bast is talking to this young Wakandan woman and her name is Naomi, which is the same name
yeah.
of T'Challa's mother, original birth mother. I mean, you're like dropping Easter eggs left and right like it's nothing. Appreciate that. All right. So speaking of gods, I am a major Storm and Black Panther forever guy. T'Challa forever. I want them to be the Reed Richards and Sue Storm of the Marvel universe because we don't have that. We don't get the Black Super Love in an ongoing series in mainstream comics that often. And we certainly don't have a black super family in mainstream comics, unfortunately. And T'Challa and Storm had that potential. Reginald Hudlin set them up for that. And unfortunately, that didn't manifest. So I'm a diehard fan of that relationship. But Storm has moved on to other pastures. They broke up because of a
Has
writer who I
she?
used to talk about.
Has she?
Well, she's got Craig the corny dude.
Okay,
Craig the
but
corny dude.
are we taking that seriously? The way I see it is this:
Hence the Craig the
Anita
corny
is a
comment.
problem, and Storm has always been known as a problem solver. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Oh
New Kid is
Lord.
a problem. Storm is a problem solver. So
No one's taking Craig the corny dude seriously, but he's the rebound guy.
you know what? I
T'Challa.
will say this: he was very good to her. So he's not a king, but he was good to her. Yes, an
He,
astronaut. That's a good man. Like, listen, let's not.
eh, I understand he's an astronaut, but okay. I mean, you go from you know God, from Emperor, Avenger, King, superhero guy to astronaut. All right, rebound
Being
guy.
kind of astronauts. Hopefully,
I
there are
mean,
none watching.
he's a corny
No,
astronaut. He's look. I think is a step down. She's a goddess. Yeah, I think it's a step down. But regardless, he's a rebound guy. T'Challa has not had a rebound.
he has
You
not.
gave him hell. You gave the brother a hell of a rebound, possibly, maybe, sort of, at least a kiss in Anuket, who is. Boy, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. She's a bit of a thirst trap. A bit of a thirst trap. She,
I don't know.
I tell you, you definitely portrayed her that way. I ain't mad at it. It was nice seeing my man, as you said before. T'Challa needs to get his swag back. I like seeing my man get his swag back. It was nice. It was a nice moment. I appreciated this.
And I will say
Um,
this: please do not put me in the shipper wars because I do not have a stance. I do not have a stance. I am happy to see Storm and T'Challa together. I would be happy if they went on their own separate ways. I have no dog in this fight. That's it. So
well, okay, but I will say this: Storm goes from King, Emperor, Avenger dude to Craig the corny dude. T'Challa goes from the Hamari Fall. I'm sorry, the Hadari Yao, Walker of the Clouds, Goddess of Wakanda, Regent of Araco to an actual freaking goddess. Somebody seemed to take a step down. Someone seemed to take a step up in their rebound. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Confident that Bast would let that happen.
I don't think she has a choice. He has her literally. She's in his bloodstream, literally, which I had a question about. Is he going when he drank in her blood? He could now, I assume. Can he? What are his powers? You sort of. I was going to say, can he breathe underwater? But he's a vampire right now. He doesn't really breathe, right? So, him swimming for long distances underwater without breathing is not a big deal because he's technically not breathing. But she certainly
Power up.
heals him, gives him a power up, right? And we see that he has this lightning bolt type thing, like an electric eel. Are there any other powers that you kind of attribute to Aniket giving her some of her blood?
Well, Anuket, this is not canon. This is just me. Because Marvel hasn't, I was not able to put this in the book, but Anuket basically has the powers of all the creatures of that river, of the Nile.
Ah.
And the funny thing is that when I was doing research, and that page actually changed from how it was originally, not the artwork, but the original wording, because I assumed, I was like, oh, electric eel. They do not have electric eels. It's an electric catfish. And I was like, there is no way I'm going to have this black man get electric powers from a catfish. So I was just like, I'm just not going to mention it. Take the animal out. It's okay. We're just not going to mention it because, oh my God, they would have been like, that's it. She's off. She's never writing black. Not only black man, she's never writing black character again. Because she gave a black man who the one who did not have electric powers, like the only one who didn't have electric powers. So not only did she give him electric powers, but it came from a catfish. No, she's done. Get her out of here.
So the electric powers are not staying because we have enough.
I do not have any plans for them to stay. I did not think that they would be staying. I'm sure Benjamin Percy is not going to have them stay. But I just thought it was funny that they did not. Electric eels are native to America, and they do have like animals with electric powers. But it's for them, it's an electric catfish, and I was like, that sounds ridiculous, but it is what it is.
All right. Any other powers from Aniket that you can think of that he might have, or you were thinking that he might have?
Could you repeat that? What did you?
Any other powers do you think that T'Challa would have had from Aniket?
Well, I mean, Aniket's power set is like one, she has all of the powers of the creatures of the Nile. And two, which is very, very useful, teleportation through water. Just like Koku has teleportation through fire, she has teleportation through that element.
Huh.
But I doubt that he is going to be keeping any of that. And what I did want that we didn't have space for, and it's probably better that it wasn't included, but at the end of, spoilers, sorry for everybody, at the end of 3, Bast gives T'Challa the heart-shaped herb. And I guess you could put this in if Will Moss thinks it's interesting. I also wanted her to give T'Challa some of her blood as well.
Oh,
because that is the way to, not only are we getting rid of this vampire thing, I'm sure Bass is just like, yeah, my sister's blood is not going to, no, nah, cut that. We're severing this bond right here, right now. You will have the herb, and you will have my blood, and you will take care of Varney, and we will end this.
Isn't Aniket the goddess also supposed to be the goddess of healing? Am I wrong on that, or am I thinking of a different god?
You're not wrong. She is.
So technically, she could cure T'Challa of his vampirism if she did, in fact, give him, a good vial of her blood to ingest further.
I think that would be a major overstepping of bounds.
But that's the point. That's the point, because Bast already senses it. And she's like, "Stay away from my champion." Aniket's looking at T'Challa like he's a T-bone steak, And Bass is like, hey, this is my champion. He's back. He's back. And because she knows how her sister is, and T'Challa being unaware of that might be like, well, I'll take this blood and I won't be a vampire anymore. So what's the downside? Not realizing that she will end up having more power over him.
And he says himself that like he's bound to yet another
Right.
being.
Right. And he was talking about how he's still thinking about the kiss with her when he's sitting here fighting guys because she's in his head.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great for you to expound upon when you are given the reins to the ongoing series. I'm speaking it into existence, by the way.
Okay. Bless you. But I just want to say no word from Marvel. So please do not take that as an official announcement. I would love to, but no word from them.
Oh, everyone who's watching this, we're going to start a campaign to have Cheryl Lynn Eaton made the new ongoing writer of Black Panther. I need you all to push that out and tag Marvel on it tomorrow. Let's all do that tomorrow. We'll get
And
it done.
also to have Fareed back as well. If he's
And
not on
have,
Avengers, I secretly think he's on Avengers and he's just not saying anything.
he can do both. He's talented. He can do both. Extra paycheck. He's going to say no to money. He's not going to say no to money. All right. So a couple other panels here. I thought it was kind of interesting. In terms of your world building, he talks about I've only come to reclaim that which once sat upon Wakandan soil, a temple of no use to your people, ancient ruins. Ruins or not, do you expect me to believe your people once hewn Atlantean stone, as much as I believe your people crafted the vibranium gateway before it? So, on the one hand, you've got this temple, which, the Wakandans are saying that, I guess it's the Wakandans built the temple and the Atlanteans built the vibranium gateway. Is that how it's?
Flip it. And the funny thing is that Will Moss actually gave the idea for this, which is perfect. Atlantis obviously was once above ground,
Right.
and
Lemuria.
he provided this lore, not me. But basically, there was a major upheaval.
Right.
Pieces of Atlantis were kind of flung every which way. The temple, Varney's temple, ended up in what is now Wakanda. There are other pieces of Atlantis strewn about everywhere. So that temple ended up in Wakanda. Now, what Varney understood was that in order to become a god, he needed a gate from a god. And so that's when he stole the ore, because Ptah not only is the shaper, he also, and this is just me making this up, he also, this is what I had in my head, he also creates all of the gates. So he
Right.
created Bast's Gate, he created all of the gates for his pantheon. And so Varney sees this and he's like, oh, I'm gonna what's this metal? What's this metal right here? Yoink.
Right.
And so he takes it, and this is metal from a god's ore, and he uses it to create the shackles and a gate for his temple. And so he's like, well, now I'm good to go. I have the temple, I have an immortal gate. I just need some human blood. Where
Right.
can I get human blood? And Varney is a shapeshifter. That's one of his powers. Um, and he was just like, well, I'm just going to lure people here. And that's what he did, started luring people into by looking as like a normal human, saying, hey, see all this metal, there's all this metal and wonderful treasures on just over the river, just from the east side, just from the west side. Come on over, guys. And so the poor people from Marvel's version of Egypt and Sudan um, came over from one side, other countries come over from the other, and he was basically luring people in from different regions.
Mm.
And so when we started, I actually told Fareed, and it's funny because what kind of changes like where the region is
Yes.
um, a million times. But I told Fareed, and I actually gave him the a link to southern Sudanese regions that were just like beautiful. And I was like, the forest needs to, it should look like this. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous land. And we'll use that as the visual reference for
More homework. More homework.
yeah.
God love you.
It wasn't even homework because if I think I'll look through, dig through the stuff that I have, the correspondence, and I'll put the link up to the photographer um, that had all of the photos from. I mean, he didn't like steal the exact photos. He was just like, "Oh, this is the reference. This is what this region
Reference
looks
material.
like."
Right. Right.
So
I love that you did that. So then we've got, after all these matters are of no concern to me, T'Challa is your champion, not mine. Now I read that and it occurred to me, Khonshu has a champion, Ast has a champion, they're both parts of the Ennead. Anuket's part of the Ennead. Does Anuket have a champion?
no, she does not, and
That
neither
we've seen
does
here?
Ptah at this point.
Look, when this is what I'm talking about when I say the pantheon of gods is like this great unexplored, untapped, just it's ripe with potential because each one of these gods could have potentially their own acolyte. Can you imagine having an acolyte of Ptah, someone who is a master of metals,
But
who's not
wait,
Magneto,
and this is,
and
I'm going to keep saying this is not canon. The whole interview is going to be me saying this is not canon. But for my
that's
sake,
that's what I titled this whole interview. By the way, this is not canon. An interview with
he
Cheryl
does
Lynn.
not he does not have a champion because unlike Bast and Khonshu, he's actually pretty chill. That's
Yeah.
one. And two, he's worshipped on multiple continents under other names. You know,
Ah.
he's the god of iron, in the West African pantheon. So he's just like, I'm not really worried about it. Like they worship me in Brazil, they worship me in Nigeria, they worship me in Wakanda. I'm not pressed like you and Kanchu are.
Right.
I don't need I don't need a champion. I don't need to be stressed out about this stuff. You and Kanchu can fight it out all day if you want to, but
Look,
I'm just chill. I'm okay.
Koku, the god of war, fire, what have you. That dude kind of deserves his own pantheon. I mean his own pantheon, his own champion.
That would
I
be
can
very
imagine
scary.
that would be scary. But this
That
is
would
the
be a
type of
very
stuff that,
scary person.
imagine all these superheroes that can be created out of all of these various characters. All the acolytes of the pantheon of God. I just pitched my own Marvel story. A whole super team of acolytes of the African pantheons.
You are creating a lot of problems for T'Challa right now because he does not want to deal with that champion. That is not something nobody wants to deal. Nobody wants to deal with Cocoon in the first place, so they certainly don't want to deal with this champion.
It
He does
makes for
not like that.
great stories, man. Great stories, and have T'Challa be the leader of the team. And I want to see Anakit's champion on Earth. That would be a whole problem. A whole problem.
I think his
All right.
in himself.
I've been talking completely positive about your run. I have one criticism. I don't want you to be offended.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
My one criticism. I
Give me
told
the
you I like T'Challa's eyes. I need the eyes to stay. My one criticism of the beautiful artwork of Fareed, my man needs to not give T'Challa the receding hairline.
I personally think Fareed T'Challa is gorgeous, head to toe.
Look, he's a good looking dude, but why is my man's lineup so far back? Like making my brother look a little older than he should be. Like that's my one criticism. I can't be 100% positive. I have to throw some criticism in there. My man's lineup is too far back. It looks like his
Okay.
hairline's receding. I know in Wakanda they've got the heart-shaped herbs and berries and stuff he can just rub into his scalp, and all of a sudden he's got an afro and it just pops out of nowhere. There's no way that his hairline goes back that far. I can't believe it. Wakanda's too advanced for that.
Okay.
That's my one criticism. I'm just putting it out there. All right. Did Marvel had look in this Blood Hunt run? There were like red band editions where it was like extra gory.
Mhm.
Your story was not a red band edition, and yet
No.
on this page, you and Fareed woke up one morning and chose violence. This is a violent page. Like I couldn't show this to my 12-year-old, and this is not a criticism. I couldn't show this to my 12-year-old who go like, Daddy, what is that? Like, why are you that's disgusting. That's terrible. Like, this is not for the kids. And I respect that. It's like, did Marvel have a change in editorial where they're like, you know what? We can show some blood and some guts and
Well,
limbs floating.
it, it's horror, and I did actually make a note before I sent that issue or before I sent the script off. I was like, listen, if Fareed doesn't feel comfortable with it because it's too violent, or if it's not gonna like pass the rating, I can write an alternate page. But Will Moss was like, nah, we're good. Let's roll. There were
So
two
they
pages,
just
that
cleared it.
page and the first page where Barney makes the first sacrifice of that
Right.
woman. I was like, listen, if we need an alternate page or an alternate layout, just let me know. I'll write it and rewrite it and send it back out. But they were both cleared. So
Will,
Moss approved
Will
both of
Moss
them.
was like, oh, we good. It's all right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Hey, shout out to Marvel Editorial. I I think I dig it. I dig the extra,
yeah,
extra gore.
they were an amazing team. Will and Michelle were the editors for this, and they basically are the reason this exists because they asked me to pitch one, and they asked Fareed to do a project for them too.
Look, and you talked about that. I'm gonna keep bringing this up. You talked about part of your goal on this was Charlie needs to get his swag back, and he's a superhero. I get it. He's an Avenger. I get it. But he's also a warrior king, right? And sometimes warrior kings gotta do warrior king shit. Like he should be bodying people on occasion. He's not Spider-Man.
No,
He's from a warrior people. Like to become king, he had to go into mortal combat to become king and fight a bunch of people. So the fact that he might body some of his enemies, I wish I would see more of that. Honestly, I'm not being bloodthirsty. It's just keeping it more realistic. And I dug this scene a lot just for that one reason. It was like the one panel that said, "My boy's getting his swag back. He's getting his powers back. He's fighting." Some Atlantean stepped to him and he was like, "Oh, we're equals." He's like, "What? Equals? What? For real?"
I always joke that DC would never ever let me write a Wonder Woman story because I feel like Wonder Woman would handle that business just like T'Challa would. A
Right.
warrior is a warrior is a warrior, and like it's a last resort for I personally the way I read Diana, it's a last resort for Diana and it's a last resort for T'Challa. But if they have to murk you,
They
if you
will.
have to be removed from the situation, you are going to be removed from the. If you leave them no other choice, you are disappearing, and that's that.
I was mad when the Justice League took issue with Wonder Woman killing somebody. They're like, "Oh, we don't kill." I was like, "Oh, she's from Themyscira. They're Amazons. They're warrior women. She
That's
won't kill."
my like I said. That's where I'm enjoying. So why I'll never write a Wonder Woman story because I have been too spoiled by Wildstorm. I'm used to Dakota, okay?
Right, right.
Man, like I'm used to like Amazons who are Amazons who are Amazons who are gonna murder somebody. So like when the Amazons for me are far too peaceful. I can't. I'm just like, nah, people need to be ended. Why are you letting people talk crazy? You like attitude for the Amazons, like too much stuff is allowed to slide with them.
Right, like
So
you don't train with knives and spears and swords so that you can wound somebody. That's not kind of what you do. It's
yes.
not realistic. So cool scene. Thank you for this. And then you bring in Eshu,
This
who's
is
only sort of
this is
mentioned in that.
me leaving stuff open ended.
Yeah, but what an entrance, right? Because a few weeks ago we interviewed Mireille Ayodele and Dota
Amazing.
Nakande of the Akakan Brutalizer of Gods, and their stories literally about the African pantheons, um, and they explained that there's a hierarchy in the Orisha, right? There's the one above all, um, whether it be called Ogun or Ifua or what have you. And there's like the gods underneath that are super, super, super powerful. Like you don't see the one above all, you don't talk to them, but super, super powerful gods. And it's almost like Eshu is like on that level because the other gods sort of pay deference to him. And this was a hell of an entrance. And the fact that he ends it by saying, okay, you assembled gods on this land. Now that you've wrecked the whole place, Koku looking at you, you have a responsibility to these people. You can't just burn the place to ash and leave these humans just running around with no land. So guess what? You guys are the Ennead, you're Orisha, whatever. You're now your own thing. You're responsible for these people. You just created your own pantheon right here. You gave the origin of the Wakandan pantheon on these pages, which makes this issue also a Black Panther key, in my opinion.
I do want to say that the reason why I have that is basically Eshu is like a messenger, and he's like he lets the gods know this is how things are going to go. Gets a message, sends it back, and the reason why I wanted that, and Godfrey did an amazing job, just an amazing job.
He did.
But
He did.
not only do I feel that it's important to kind of bring African pantheons into light, I
Mm-hmm.
feel that so much of an importance is placed on the Egyptian pantheon and not the gods of other countries, Ghana, Nigeria. Like that's kind of like pushed to the wayside. And it's like, no, these are pantheons on an equal footing, just as important. And I didn't want it to be where it's just like all the Ennead and not any other members. So I just wanted it to be like, no, Eshu is that dude. He is the messenger. And you think that like Bass kind of thinks that she's in charge here. She runs things. But there are gods above Bast. Well, there's
Yeah.
one god above Bast. And she also has to answer to someone.
Right. God, I hope you get this book. I'm starting my campaign tomorrow. You finish off this book with the scene that you just mentioned. Bast is almost loving in this towards T'Challa. Welcome back, my champion. Welcome home. You ended the Jesus. You ended the book with welcoming T'Challa back home to Wakanda. This man has been dragged, he's been run amok, he has been spit upon, he has been literally cursed and run out of his own country, run out of his kingship. And he comes back, and the goddess Bass herself welcomes him back and says, welcome home, where you belong, here in Wakanda. And she hands him the heart-shaped herb out of her own hand, not go up the mountain, pluck it, have your priest, concoct the purple juice and drink it. She hands him the heart-shaped herb out of her own hand, like you've earned this. This is one panel, and it speaks volumes with this one picture. It's like it was almost cathartic for me as a fan who's had his criticisms over how the character's been portrayed of late. This is like a very cathartic moment to see him finally welcomed home by his goddess. Um, What was your intent with this page? And what's the intent by this heart-shaped herb, which is kind of very prominently featured?
It's a renewal for T'Challa and also a reminder that at the end of the day, it's vast land. And not just vast, but all of the gods who came together to form that land and to protect the people. And so I think the government has kind of gotten away from that. And let me put this first and foremost. In America, I very much believe in a separation of church and state. Extremely, extremely. Um, but perhaps that's not what's needed in Wakanda. Um, and I'll just leave it at that. But I believe that it is a land, not it's a land for the people. It's a land for the gods, and I think maybe the government has kind of forgotten that along with it. They need some reminders.
Hmm. This was a beautiful run.
Thank you.
There's a little yellow glow or outline on Boss' hand as she handing him the purple. I mean, sorry, the purple. The heart-shaped herb. Is this a special heart-shaped herb in your mind? Is this a souped-up heart-shaped? Is there something significant about why it's glowing like that? Her hand is glowing like that.
That's all for Reed, but I think it's not a special form of the herb to me, but when it's being delivered by a goddess, it's a more powerful symbol.
Hmm. Um. Wow. What a fantastic run! I truly enjoyed. I'm not just saying this because you're here, because I've been saying this on social media since issue one. I've truly enjoyed this series.
I'm
Like
glad
truly.
you enjoyed it. I'm glad for every and I thank you because like listen, even though Fareed and I and Andrew and Joe put our hearts into this, it's a tie-in. Like I did not expect
I I
people.
I reject that. This was look. I understand you only had 3 issues, and it was technically a tie-in, but it was so much more than that. The amount of detail. This is why I spent. I didn't have to spend all this time going through these issues, but I thought it was important to do so because I truly respect what you did in this book, and the amount of detail that you put into this book, the amount of Easter eggs, the amount of open ended things that you left for future stories, which really just gets your mind just running when you see it. It warrants note because that's talent and that's creativity and that's what we shine lights on here at Black Comic Lords. um, because I don't know if enough people are really sort of giving you your accolades on this. If they haven't yet, I hope they will soon. Um, you've, and this is why I started the show by talking about some of the stuff you did before to show like you're a rising star. That's why I label this. You're a rising star, and I truly believe your career is gonna go to some really fantastic places. So, enough respect to you, Cheryl Lynn Eaton. Very much so. I have yet to
Thank
have
you
a
so
single
much.
person say anything negative about this, about your run. I promise you, I'm not BSing you. I have yet to see anyone say anything negative about this. Not a single person. Really good. But so thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I am in great company now. So I am very
You are, which leads to my next segue. We at the Black Comic Lords have a tradition where, if you interview with us, we consider you family. And so you have to be initiated into the Black Comic Lords family. So I'm going to put you on the screen here, and I want you to say your name and say, I am a Black Comic Lord with passion.
hello, I am Cheryl Lynn Eaton. I am a writer and I am also a Black comic lord.
That was perfect, elegant, and well done. Thank you very much.
Thank
You
you.
are now initiated into the group.
I am
We'll
thrilled.
we'll talk later. So we're going to take a commercial break. DJ Dr. Wizard, Cheryl Lynn, we usually do like a Wednesday wrap up show. It's getting kind of late. I don't know if the guys are still awake, but um, we are going to chat for a bit, just kick it, chop it up about whatever comes through our minds. You are welcome to stay and join us. If you have to leave and go do some other things, it's fine too. Um, but I'm going to email you. So check out the email. Thank you for your time. And listen, if whenever you have any upcoming projects and you want to talk about it, you want to promote it, now that you're initiated with the squad, all you got to do is just shoot us an email, a DM, and say, "Hey, I want to come on," and we'll put you on. Very simple.
Right.
We're here for you. All right. I hope you
And
won't
thank you
take too
so
long
much
and join us
for
back
having
soon.
me.
The Cheryl Lynn Eaton campaign for the new writer of Black Panther begins now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Comics are different. Those things cannot be returned if they do not sell. Okay. So that means that if they buy 10 copies of Monica Rambeau Photon and nobody buys it, they eat that money. And your local comic shop is, the margins are very thin, right? Times are hard for everybody. And so what that means is that it gives comic shop owners incentive to be very risk averse, right? And so you could order a bunch of Batman and you know that every month people are going to come in and buy Batman. It's often characters of color, new characters, lesser known characters where they're like, I don't know, this could be good, but if I put this on my shelves and people don't buy it, I lose money. And I'm sympathetic to that. That's a real assessment that they have to make. So the way that we avoid that is you go in and you pre-order. So Paul goes in 3 months before the comic set comes out and says, hello, I would like to pre-order Monica Rambeau Photon #1. I'm not going to wait till it comes out. I'm telling you now that I want it. And at that point, they're like, okay, let me go ahead and order this. And in the comics world, that is the sale that counts. By the time you come into a store and purchase comic books, that sale does not count. I know it is ridiculous. It is very silly. That is the way it is. The sale that counts is when the store orders it from the distributor. That is what they are counting. And so what that means is that when you go in and you pre-order things, it actually gives that store confidence. Like, okay, Paul said Paul's going to be back and spend his $5 on this book. So we're good. If we order this one, we know it's going to sell and we can pay our rent. We're not going to be eating this cost this month. The best thing to do is your subscription or your pull list where you go in and you say, I want you to put these in every month for me, right? And then they will set that aside in a box.
Message.
And we're back for the Wednesday wrap-up show.
What's up? What's up?
-1. Richard couldn't make it tonight. He had some family in town and is spending time with his family and not his Black Comic Lords family, but he's here in spirit, I'm sure.
Yeah. Please important.
Yeah.
That
Happy
was
4th in advance to the chat. Stay safe. Have a great time.
Happy Independence Day to those that gained their independence, not us, on July 4th.
Well, there's another meeting to the 4th for us, but I don't know if I should say it on here.
Go ahead, Angel. It's the Black Comic Club. It's late. No one's going to see this.
Yeah, so traditionally, the 4th of July was us celebrating our own space away from the others.
Because they were out cooking and eating and stuff. Well, eating anyway. and we got finally to be by ourselves and enjoy ourselves without them bothering us.
Yes. So
Gotcha.
it was a small micro freedom day for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's a day off of work.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Thank you for that. What's that you have on, Angel? You always have interesting T-shirts when you do these shows.
Yeah. This is
In homage to our interview,
yeah.
Angel has on her Black Panther shirt.
Very nice.
That was a fun interview.
That was packed. It was packed, and just like those three issues were packed, right?
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Derek, for saying that, because I know you guys criticize me for being long-winded, and you know I get it, but damn it, there was a lot of stuff in those books, and I felt I'd be kicking myself tomorrow if I didn't ask all those questions that I wanted to ask and to point out the things I wanted to point out. I just had to be complete, and I think the run was such that it deserved that. Angel, what was that you were just showing us?
Oh, I was
Uh-oh.
flexing a little bit.
Every
Angel's
week.
a nice flex.
So
Why does Angel have a flex video at this point?
I know.
This was almost impossible to get. This was a one in every store today, and it was a secret variant that came out on top of that.
Fist of Khonshu?
Yes.
Is that a new series?
Yes. So they started it over because I think I have one. But
The Vengeance was the previous one. So
right. So, but then
this
they
is the new one.
This is the new series, but then they did a 0. This is
Right.
weird.
Wow.
So and then it's in a poly. Oh, so I have it in a top loader, and then I have it in Mylar, and then it's in a poly. So I just ordered the A cover so I can read it. Because I didn't realize how rare this was, and I got the hookup of a hookup.
That's nice.
Jay's asking where you got your shirt.
Oh, well, Jay, I don't remember, to be honest. I get a lot of company swag from like Marvel and DC and different comic book. I do a lot in the community in the background, so I get tons of stuff, and I could not tell you where I got this shirt, to be honest.
For those of who don't know, Angel is a comic book celebrity. She is behind the scenes. Look at her trying to deny it. It's not true. It's absolutely true. She is a comic book. Everybody knows who Angel is, and Angel knows everybody. She is like.
I like to
I don't
help.
know.
That's my obsession. That's my crack. I love figuring out efficiencies and logistics on how to get stuff done. So I am asked to be put on a lot of different projects or advice on stuff, and then I'm turned that into a consultant firm actually now as of this year. So
go ahead, plug it.
Nice.
Plug on. Get your plug on.
Doing what you love and loving what you do. That's important.
Angel's a fixer.
Yeah.
If you're running inefficiently and you need to get shit done, contact me.
That's exactly right. But this
shameless
plug. This is like so with that,
congratulations on that.
I get all kinds of comic books, T-shirts. Most of the cons I have access to. I don't always go to them, obviously, because I just be out and about all the time. Yeah, so it's a good work. I like it.
If you ever need an assistant, I come really cheap.
I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I will be hiring at some point, but I'm not there yet.
I work for comics and comic swag.
Oh no. I give my access away.
Paul, I have a shirt flex too.
Oh yeah, what you got? Show us.
What do you have?
So my Wakanda All-Stars shirt.
What?
That's up. That's nice.
So if anybody else is interested, I can share the link, and with this link you can get I'll share the link here, and if anybody's interested, you can try it out. But I think it'll get you 15% off and free shipping from
That's from Vibranium Vibes.
From Vibranium Vibes.
Vibranium Vibes, doing it big, man.
Very nice, very nice. One more.
I need to go buy some shirts before they sell out.
Yeah. Better go fast. They got jerseys, shirts, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, Marwan. Yep, the link's above. Use that link and make sure to get me the 15% and the free shipping.
Yeah, step up my Wakanda swag.
Yeah. All right.
So, chat. We don't have anything planned for tonight, so we want to hear what you guys have to say. What have you been talking about this week? Did you like the interview? Did you have any questions? You know, anything you want to say about that? Did anybody watch Supercell?
I watched the big I'm part of the way through the first episode now. After a lot of chat and a few of the chats were on, I was like, I need to check this out. Right, I'm enjoying it so far.
This show is fantastic. Angel, you have no excuse. I know your excuse every time is I'm a binger. I'm not watching it until the whole thing's dropped so I can sit down and zombify myself on the couch and watch the entire thing with a big bowl of popcorn.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's on Netflix. All 6 episodes dropped at the same time. You can watch the whole thing and binge it.
There's no excuse.
No excuse, Angel.
That's gonna be this weekend's binging.
Okay, so next weekend.
Yes,
next
I would
week.
watched it. Yes.
Next Wednesday, we're gonna do a Supercell show.
Okay.
I need all of us to watch the show, and we're gonna talk about it.
Okay, done.
Supercell next Wednesday. You heard it here first. Even Angel's gonna watch it.
Yes.
She's gonna give her review. All right. So let's see what people are talking about. Dr. Wizard, tell us what the people are talking about.
Okay. Let's see. I guess Cornelius talking about Supercell, excited to see season 2 because it ended in a way that informs that there is a season 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's already talk about people trying to start a campaign to get a season 2 made. They're encouraging people to watch it a second time if you watched it and you did it. Here's another little tip. Set your Netflix to just play continuously with no stops to check to see if you're still watching, and let it play in the background. Just let it play. Pull out your phone if you're going to bed and let it play in the background with the volume down. Plug in your phone on the charger and just let it play. And just keep doing that and let their numbers go up. Look, let me tell you something. We complain all the time in this space about the MCU sucks. There's not enough black representation. They killed T'Challa, recast T'Challa. They won't recast T'Challa. Why are they killing our black hero? Why are they making Falcon, Captain America taking somebody else's mantle? Look, this is a completely original show, series, characters. This is the type of thing we should be supporting. It's a superhero show of all black people that get superpowers. Only black people get super. It's literally Heroes meets the book Black in one show. That's probably like one other reference. Heroes, Black, and Top Boy. Heroes, Black, and Top Boy all merged together, had a baby, and that's the show, Supercell.
Yeah, so I was just pulling this up. Just, here's I guess, Paul, you already gave the high-level teaser, but in South London, a group of normal people suddenly develop superpowers, and the only apparent connection between them is that they are all black.
Blackness is a superpower. We've been saying this for you. We already know this.
We already know.
But it's nice to see it manifested on screen.
Yeah, this one, it kind of snuck out there because I didn't hear a lot of, I didn't see advertisements about it or anything. First place I heard about this was just in, Facebook Messenger chats, frankly.
It's #1 trending show on Netflix right now.
They didn't want it get shut down. If that was the lead
Yeah, yes,
advertisement,
absolutely,
oh
yeah.
man, it would have got shut down
The
by
the review bombs would have been crazy on this if they had
Right.
really, yeah. So and actually the ratings are down from where it was last week. So I'm thinking maybe some of the review bombs have
yeah,
started. By the
you
way,
got the other folk that jelly.
yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Even if you don't have time to watch it, go ahead and let it play on your television in the background, or play on one of your devices and just let it play and get the numbers up. And more importantly, go ahead and give positive reviews. Facebook has those thumbs up things. I think it's 1 thumb versus 2 thumbs versus 3 thumbs or something like that. Whatever
Let's
the highest
all,
thumbs,
yes,
2
keep
or
going.
3, give them the 2 or 3 thumbs.
Hmm.
Get it,
So
Oh, something else interesting. There's that one scene where one guy discovers his powers and he ends up in another place. I was just in that other place, walking in that same place where he was.
in
uh,
Scotland,
Yeah, in
Edinburgh,
Edinburgh. In Edinburgh.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that looks really familiar. I wonder if that's where I was. And sure enough, it was exactly where, we were
were
walking,
you walking in that area? Or were you driving through?
walking, walking on that same road right there.
Is
It
that
was
like a
so
highly
familiar.
as I was watching that show, I was like, is that a road that people walk on a lot?
Um,
Because it seems kind of
yeah, yeah.
isolated.
No, no, no. It's I'm trying to remember. There's like
And the old lady's pushing the cart. I'm like, why is this old lady pushing a cart in the middle of nowhere on a mountain? And where's
yeah.
her? Does she not have family? Why is she taking a bus or a car? Why is the old
It's
lady pushing a cart up a mountain?
that area, believe it or not, is actually close to the town. It's just and there's some government buildings close by. And it's just a great place to walk. You can kind of walk around that mountain area, and then half a mile away, you can get back into town, hit the streets again.
Huh.
Yeah. So it looks like it's way out, in the middle of nowhere, but it actually isn't. Yeah.
So going off topic, I had a bit of a tragedy this week.
Oh,
Yeah. I posted in our space that I received a shipment of some comics I ordered from a Black independent publisher.
okay.
And if you go on our space, I don't know if you can pull up the picture, Derek, but
Yeah, give me a few minutes. I'll see if I can dig it up.
it was not pretty. It was not pretty. They sent it in a manila folder. No
Ooh.
bag and board. They took a
Ew.
regular comic book bag, no, a regular comic book board. There's 2 issues. Took the regular comic book board, put it behind the 2 issues, and then just put it in a regular manila folder
Oh
and mailed it.
no. Who
Mailed it.
does that?
I don't want to put them on blast and say, but
Uh,
I was not happy. I
Paul was
was
who
look.
does that? That's
I
garbage.
I had to make another post on it, and yeah. See if I can find it. Find my
That
own
is
post.
horrific. Gemini packaging, and I'm gonna go grab one just so people can see it real quick.
They're not that expensive. They're not that expensive. Here, I found it. All right, so let me pull this up. Present,
Gemini
share.
packaging costs little to nothing, and then when you go to the post office and you tell them you want to send books via mail, it is dirt cheap. Dirt cheap. And
Look at how my package came. Look at how my package came.
that is trash.
I'm not even exaggerating. That's literally how it was crumbled up, and that's how the book was inside.
So
So
Paul,
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this in a lot. I know my fellow Black comic lords are going to give me shit about this later, but it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. I'm declaring it now. If you're selling books in our space and you present those books, you package the books in this manner, I'm no longer going to restrain myself and keep you anonymous.
I wouldn't have. They lucky they didn't come to me.
We're going to make you famous.
Especially, I
Or
mail out
infamous.
all the time.
This
Media
is
mail,
unacceptable
nothing.
packaging.
Oh my god.
This is like an utter disrespect to your customers and your fans. Because, and the thing was, this is a good book. And I was really, truly excited to get this book. And I really wanted to go review it and promote it and encourage other people to go support this publisher and their work. I don't have any desire to do that because I feel disrespected that you would treat your customers like this.
It's a huge
I'm going to reach out to them and see if they'll make it right. If not, then I will just govern myself accordingly.
All the way under the bus, because that's like.
I'm not going to throw them under the bus. I just won't do business with them again. But I'm saying from this point forward, I'm not restraining myself. If you send books in this condition, I'm going to show people the condition that you send the books. I'm just telling you from now. I'm done with it. We got way too many collectors in our space to be tolerating this type of stuff. It's 2024. Get yourself right. Gemini mailers are not that expensive. I'm sorry.
No, these boxes are incredible. Just in case somebody didn't see it. So it's cardboard, and you put your books right inside.
We all have them. You can recycle those things.
Yeah.
You can reuse them over and over again.
Yeah, I mail books out because I give away comic books all the time. Mail them out, and it's nothing. It costs nothing.
I got stacks of these Gemini mailers all over the place. You don't throw them away. You can always reuse them. You can reuse them time and time again. You just pull out the tape and tape it again. Just not. There's no reason for this, man. I'm still bitter about it. I'm sorry.
I feel your pain. I had some bad. I had a really good flex I was gonna put on you, Paul, and it got messed up. It got ruined a few months ago. So I feel your pain. You remember the big one that I had? Yeah.
Well, you gotta tell me what it is now.
No, you remember it was that box. It was the it was
yes, the Milestone thing.
Yeah, it was 6 of those Milestone preview. Let's see. It was the Diamond Previews Milestone from 1992, and I found 6 of them. And the guy he was supposed to ship it priority mail. He shipped it media mail. He didn't tape the box well, and the box kind of busted open, and all the books but one fell out in transit. Like they could actually see from point to point where the weight of the box just dropped as more books fell out. So yeah, he gave me a full refund, Richard. He did make that right for me, but I was not able to, the Postal Service was not able to find the books in their network. So it was literally, I spent like $130, and it would have been, well over $1,000 worth of books. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare story.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, it's always a gamble whenever you buy something.
Why is Richard in our chatting with us when he can just be here? It's like I told you, I know you ain't doing nothing with your family right now. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did pick up another Nita Hawes slab. This one here.
I actually did notice that. I was just not going to talk about it because I know you're waiting for me to say something, and I didn't want to give you that.
It's just the regular. It's the regular cover A and not the one per store, because I have 2.
Which you already have a couple copies of. Yes, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
There.
And another one of my favorites I picked up a few days ago. This.
You're just going to keep going, huh? You're just going to keep going. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, of course you got it right there.
This guy. What else you got next to you, Derek?
I only have one more.
Only one more. Okay.
Yeah,
but I did know that you had more.
So last Wednesday night we were having a discussion just after the show, and Rich and Paul were talking about the Icon and Hardware books. So I decided to check, and I got this set here books 1 through 4, and book number 2 that came was this one here. So hold on a minute.
Was the 1 in 25?
How much did you pay
Yes,
for that,
the 1 in
Derek?
25. It was $20 for all of them, and this one is a pretty nice book.
Okay, that makes me
Yeah,
mad because
yeah, that
I
was
spent
more
more
than.
than $20 on that one book in your left hand.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a nice surprise.
That was not an easy book to get. I had to order
it's a
that like as soon as
it's
it
a
came on pre-order.
it's a very hard one to find. Yeah, I don't
I
I
only
don't know.
have one copy of it. I can't even get multiple copies
Yeah, so
because it was so damn expensive when I got it.
oh, I'll tell you something else. I got this for like $2, I think, on
That's
eBay.
a
You had
trade paper.
Ollie's or something?
No, just eBay.
Oh wow.
Trade paperback. So it was a good price, and I figured, I can give it to somebody who's interested in Bitterroot. So
Yeah, those trades are cool. You know, as I think about it, that would be a good book to get in a trade to take with me on my trip in a couple of weeks.
hmm
Reread that. That'd be kind of cool to take. I can do a live unboxing. I got my
Okay.
shipment from.
Well, do it.
It's a big box.
Uh-oh.
Oh, look at. It looks like you got stuff in there.
It's got stuff.
While you're doing that, Paul, Marwan Williams says, just a heads up, I put in my backing for the Epiphany engine. So, hey,
Yeah.
Hey,
that's great that you did that. Thank you very much. I'm
Thank
give
sure
him a
that I
super
know.
chat,
Yes.
Theo.
Oh yeah, we'll give you a super chat for that.
How did I do that
But
whole show without get a single super chat? What's the matter with y'all, man?
yeah,
Come on, people.
I
Not
think
even
the
$1.
the interview
That
is so
show wasn't worth
engrossing.
$1, $5. Come on, guys.
The interview is so engrossing. So, Marwan, for supporting Epiphany Engine, we're gonna give you this one.
Show me the money. Yeah! Louder! Show me the money. I need to feel you, Jerry. Show me the money. Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money. I love black people.
All right.
Show me the money. Yeah.
Well, most of y'all are there.
Yes, funding has passed the halfway mark. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I'm gonna check in
Thank
to
you.
see exactly where we are right now on that Kickstarter. I'll pull it up in
I
a
think it was
moment.
26 something last time I looked.
Okay. All right. So I got multiple stacks here.
Paul, I'm gonna put you on big here. There you go.
I'm going to show you what I got in my shipment. Speaking of Black Panther Blood Hunt, here's issue number 2.
Oh, that's a
hmm
I like that.
Here is Dracula Blood Hunt number 2.
Hmm.
I can't believe I got this cover. This is the cover I wanted.
Is that from
I
Things from
want.
Another World?
No, this is from my comic shop.
Oh, okay.
This is Dudley Dotson and the Forever Machine number 3.
Oh, I like that gold foil lettering.
Yeah, the gold foil kind of pops on there. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I love foil.
Ooh, I'm seeing this for the first time. It's just like you guys. Green Lantern War Journal number 2.
Oh yeah, I got that one. That's a nice cover.
The cover is incredible. Pure cover by, because the story itself was Invincible Iron Man number 19. Cool cover. I did not like the premise of the story of Rhodey being in prison and left there to rot by Tony Stark. That storyline made no sense to me, and I did not like that.
That kind of reminisces that story of the two actors with Terrence Howard and what is his name? He played Iron Man.
Don Cheadle?
No, he played Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah.
Oh.
Robert Downey Jr. So Terrence Howard had made a deal with Marvel or Sony Pictures or whoever ran the movie back in the day. He took less pay in order for Robert Downey Jr. to get bonded. And then 3 years later, when they were giving him crap, because I don't know if it's okay to curse on here, when they were giving him crap, and he called Robert Downey.
Crap is not a curse word, but that's so cute.
Well, I'm saying that instead of saying what I want to say. I just stopped myself. So Terrence Howard had tried to, get help to stay on the movie before they ended up replacing him, and he ignored his calls. That's how that went.
No good deed. Anansi
Oh,
Boys #1.
yes.
Nice.
Sean Martin Bro cover. Steve Harvey on that.
Steve Harvey, as I was about to say.
As Anansi. But of course, I also had to get the Dennis Cowan cover.
Oh, see, that one's nice. I didn't see that one anywhere. That's a nice cover.
Blood Hunt #4. With 1, 2, 3, 4 black superheroes on the cover.
Yeah, that's a lot of blackness.
That is McDuffie rule book. I cannot not buy a comic book with more than 3 black superheroes on the cover. Just not happening. Blood Hunt #4, the Red Band edition.
Red Band. I love the Red Band.
I like the EC comic variant covers for Blood Hunt. Those nice.
I actually ordered this. I was very jealous when I saw Angel with this, and I didn't realize I had ordered it myself. Gotcha Man #1.
Oh, there you go.
The Sanford Green cover.
Oh man, that cover is brilliant.
I did not realize I ordered it, so now I'm happy because I thought I'd have to go out of my way to go find it.
See, good job.
Okay, Midnight Suns #2, cover by Ken Lashley, the great Ken Lashley.
Yeah, I have that one. That's a nice cover.
I don't know who did this cover, but this is also Midnight Suns #2. Blade versus the Ghost Riders.
It's a lot of fire over there.
And wow, I really spent too much money here. Midnight Suns #2, cover by the great Scotty Young.
That one's uber cute.
I love Scotty Young covers, so I have to get them. You guys know I'm a big Star Wars guy, so I got Star Wars High Republic Avengers.
Paul, I did get caught up on the Acolyte, by the way, in the past week too.
Did you?
Yes,
what did you think? Did you enjoy it?
I like the overall arc. I don't know about the intricate execution of it, but I like the arc and the big picture story and themes that they're taking forward, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I appreciate that. Ultimate Black Panther #5.
Nice.
Is that the first cover appearance of the Vodacon? I don't remember. It might be. I'll have to look into that.
It's a nice cover.
And then, holy shit, why did I get 2 covers? The only problem with these pre-orders that I do, I sometimes screw up.
Ordered and get 2. Yep.
And I got 2 of the same thing.
Sounds like a giveaway. Sounds like a giveaway, Paul.
That's probably a giveaway.
Yeah, I usually give away mine.
Ultimate Black Panther #5, this other cover. Black Panther is the one character that I always buy all the covers, no matter what. That's the only character I do that. I do that for. So of course, I got the Boss Logic cover.
Yeah, that's nice.
And because it's a Boss Logic cover, apparently I got 2 of them.
That's nice.
So that might have been a mistake as well. I don't know what the hell this is.
Oh, that's
Guardians
nice
of the Galaxy.
cover.
Why do I even have this?
Stormbreakers.
Oh, that's
right?
brilliant colors. Love
I
that.
think this is one of those covers I ordered blind, not knowing what the cover was going to look like. This is Vengeance of Moon Knight #6. So the cover has absolutely nothing to do with the book. I hate that. Why does Marvel even do that? They give you covers that have absolutely nothing to do with the book.
People buy just for the cover, just like you did.
If you've watched enough of these shows with me on Friday with Mark, you know that I am a big Battlestar Galactica fan. And so there's this one series they did where the original 70s Battlestar Galactica met the crew from the 2000 version, and it was called
Yeah.
BSG and BSG.
Oh,
Hmm.
So this is
oh.
the trade paperback. This was what I will take with me on my trip. I'll put that to the side. I'm
Paul,
gonna read that.
I cannot get anybody in my household to watch the 2000s version of Battlestar Galactica with me. I've
Oh,
tried
wow.
so many times, and nobody will sit down and watch it with
Good.
me.
It's one of the few sci-fi shows my wife had actually got into watching with me.
I think if they would just
Oh,
watch 10
good.
minutes, they'd be hooked. But yeah, it
I
hasn't
don't
been.
see how you like the hooked on. That was literally one of the best shows on television at the time.
Well, my daughter would have watched it, but you know the scene early on where I forget the lady, the blonde lady who's a scion, when she
Number
kills the
six.
Yeah.
baby. When she kills
Yeah.
the baby in the very beginning, my daughter was out of it at that point. She was like,
That
"No, I'm
turned
not watching
her way.
anymore. That's it.
Yeah.
Can't watch this."
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
was
Little
I was
baby
like,
pretty,
killing.
yeah.
that was
Little
pretty
baby
high.
killing. Black Panther, Blood Hunt #2. This cover.
Yeah.
And this is a book I am happy and excited to read. Unique Studios, The Assyri. Have any of you seen this before?
I have not.
No.
This is a new sci-fi series by Unique Studios, the same studios that did the Yanu and the Windmaker and Malika. The same studios, based out of Nigeria. They have a deal with, I think it's Dark Horse, maybe. Yeah, Dark Horse.
Oh, wow.
So you can
Now,
order this through your LCS. So we can order this through our LCSs then if we want to.
absolutely. This
Okay.
just dropped last week.
Okay.
This is their
All right.
graphic novel called The Assyri. It is an Afrofuturism book. It's about Africans in space, basically. I'll find out. So this is going into my read pile for my trip. So that's 2 books I'm taking on my trip. So I said this is a very big book box. And I have some more here. Boy, this is really good packaging. Look at that. None of my comics are damaged. You put it in a nice reinforced box. You can throw that box, I could kick that box around and none of my comics will be damaged. These simple things. It doesn't take much. Oh, all right. So I got me a pretty nice version of Tyrock's first appearance.
Nice.
Oh, so cool beans. I got mine too.
Is that's your first one, Paul?
No, this is probably my second or third one.
Oh, okay.
Star Wars Tales #5. I don't remember. Oh, in this story, Lando leads his own group of commandos and becomes famous. This, if I'm not mistaken, this is the story where Lando earns his stripes to become a general. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's why I bought it. I haven't read it, so I'm looking for. I might have to add this to my read pile too. All right, my suitcase is going to be full of books. For some reason, I thought I had this book, but I couldn't find it, so I ended up buying another one. And this issue's not in bad condition. It's New Gods #3, first appearance of the Black Racer. Black Racer? I'm saying that wrong.
I don't know. New Gods #3.
Yeah, the Black Racer. Damn, what was the significance of this issue? Avengers 224. I want to say this is a Herschel issue.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I was trying to think, well, okay, what did Herschel teach us about that one?
I think this might have been a Herschel issue. So shout out to Herschel. I think that was Herschel pointed out something that I hadn't thought of before. I I mentioned earlier about the interview with Murray Ayudeli and Doton Akande. This was the first series that I ever saw them on that I learned about them called I Am Iron Man. And I found this really dope cover that Doton did with
Oh,
War.
nice.
Yeah.
I like the bullets.
Yeah. Dude's really talented. And here's another cover he did, issue number 5.
Huh.
This guy's going to be a huge star. Misery #1, the new Spawn series.
Yep, I got that one.
That's not the cover I wanted, though.
Ah!
I wanted the other cover. Again, I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I'm also even a bigger Star Trek fan. This series has been absolutely fantastic.
Love Cisco.
Picked up this issue of Checkmate with Mr. Terrific. Had an Amanda Waller story in it.
How's his hair looking in that one?
It's better than the one from the movie. They released that picture of Mr. Terrific and he had a jetpack in it. I can't shake that. Mr. Terrific is a super genius. That's his power, so much so that he made his T-Spears, which gives him his quote-unquote powers, his ability to fly, because he hops on top of the T-Spears and they fly him around. He can shoot beams. They're defensive.
Maybe it's Mr. Terrific year 1. You know, let's just wait and see.
I
what
hope
happens.
it's something stupid like that, but that really bothered me. Marvel Universe B through C.
Is that another Herschel one?
I don't know if this is a Herschel one or not, but typically when you get these index books, if you get the ones
there's a lot of good
B
info.
out of superheroes, because they always named all the superheroes Black something. So if you buy the section that has the B in it, you're going to automatically have a bunch of Black superheroes. Which is why I also have Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition #2, which also has that part of the alphabet. Oh, crap. I didn't know I got this. Okay. I'm surprised I got this. I didn't know I got this. But I'm happy I have it. And this is actually in pretty good condition. A couple creases. One crease. There's one crease on it. This is Transformers #5.
Oh yeah. Okay. And what's the
What was
the reason for this one?
This is M.D. Bright's first work for Marvel.
Yeah.
Was it first work? He did this. No, I apologize. No, that's not what it was. He did this cover. Which is not a typical art style for him, because you can see it's kind of a painted cover. It's not a style that you really traditionally see with M.D. Bright, but it's a fantastic, unique cover. And several artists after he passed away said that this particular cover, including I think it was Nicholas Draper Ivy, said that this cover is what inspired them to become artists, comic book artists. So shout out to M.D.
You said
Bright. Transformers #5. This is the M.D. Bright cover. This cover is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Shout out to that man.
Yeah, that's different.
So that is my mail call for the week.
Very nice. Very nice.
I'm just gonna show this because I just love this.
Let's make her big. What is that? Is that Amanda Waller?
Yes.
What book is that? Angel, I've never even seen that. And I do the Black Comic pre-orders in this group.
Listen, Linda, listen. Look. So they have the Absolute Power that came out today.
Yeah.
This is all the covers with Amanda Waller on them. See, that's the A cover. This is a cardstock cover that's hard to find, and I happen to get that too.
Is it a comic book?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
What
her
book is
story.
it?
It's the Absolute Power. So there was like 6 covers on the Absolute Power. It's the 1 through 4. It's not the launch one from last week. This is the 1 through 4, the story arc of her origin. So, but this one has her
What?
as a cardstock. This is hard to find.
Hmm.
Oh, I
Everybody
gotta go
was
find that right now.
That's the Stephen Bliss cards. It's cover C, the Stephen Bliss cardstock, and I just bought the last one off eBay. Just messing with you, Paul. Just but it is Stephen Bliss cover
Yeah.
C cardstock variant.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
this is just such a beautiful cover.
I like the lighting work
Love it.
too.
I love it.
I love that.
Yeah. And they have one where it's cartoon baby Amanda, and she's in the playground playing with toy Justice League. It's so cute. I almost got that one.
Is it the one that's called Ground Zero?
It's the
No.
same. It's the same comic book, but the cover has baby
Paul,
Amanda.
it's Absolute Power #1. Cover the one you're looking for, Paul, is
Can you
the
pull it up?
Stephen Bliss card cover C.
Can you pull up all the covers, or you?
Oh, I found it.
You found it. Okay.
Hold on. Let me go ahead and purchase that before y'all fools go online and beat me to it.
Yeah, if you can find it, get it. This.
Yeah, there's quite a few on eBay.
And maybe that's where they all went. You go in the stores, you can't find it.
All right, I just ordered it. That's too dope not to have in the
Okay.
collection.
You're
I
good
love me
now.
some
All
Elite.
good.
The universe may return to its normal operating procedures.
Right.
Mhm.
Can't say nobody didn't tell you.
Thank you, Angel, for putting me on to some game. Appreciate it. Any other covers in that thing I need to get? Like, what the hell? This is Batman cover. What is that? Batman versus the Shark? What is that?
Oh yeah. There's an Absolute Power #2, also a Stephen Bliss cover, similar style and coloring on it.
Oh, snap. Look at this one.
You know, I think the
Look at this one.
Hold on.
yeah,
I'll swap
that's
it
what
over.
I'm talking about. She's playing in the
Oh, okay.
That's exactly the one I was talking about.
Oh, I need this one too.
She's got Little Justice League.
I gotta get that one too. Hold on. Anything else here?
The other ones were like, I didn't care for them.
Yeah, the rest of them kind of suck.
Okay, so for the chat, the homework for the week is watch Supercell,
Supercell.
all 6 episodes, and Supacell, Supacell. If you're googling it or looking for it on Netflix. Any other homework?
Go ahead and book tickets to go to Atlantic Comic Con. Let's see. In 2 weeks, there is, if you're in the Philadelphia area, please go check out Big Phil's exhibit.
Yep.
He has asked that we play his trailer. Can you play that?
All right. Yeah, I will pull that up here.
Yeah,
Give me a minute or two to find it.
You should already have this queued up, man. It should be inside our StreamYard
There's no way to
rotation.
let it. Yeah, that one won't load in the StreamYard, so I have to do that one separately.
All right, I bought both of those Amanda Waller covers. Damn you, Angel, making me spend money.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm gonna play this this trailer. It doesn't mute us in the background, so we need to stay quiet so this can be heard really well.
Or put ourselves.
Yep.
So, what do I need to say?
Just stay quiet. Here we go.
It's hard for me to do, dude.
Documentary, if we could capture what's going on right now, it'll be like going in the past and getting the Harlem Renaissance, capturing that on film in the beginning.
What's important about this film is you are documenting exactly all aspects of how that is affecting this industry. Start talking about, the whole collection process. You're talking about fans, you're talking about collectors, you're talking about investors, you're talking about the producers, the workers. What you're capturing here is going to be important years after we're gone, because I think your film is going to show a side of this that nobody ever thought about. And it's taken all this long to actually put this level of commitment into what you're trying to show. People are going to be shocked. Oh, there's that many black people that are into this, and they spend this, and this business is this big. I'm honored to be a part of it. Larry's honored to be a part of it. This is going to be.
What I was doing is whatever I worked on, I added black characters into the. I'd stick them in the background. That's how I started doing all the crowd scenes. I'm gonna have somebody black in this somewhere.
Man, I think it's gonna be something special.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. That's gonna be something special.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to see that. So again, that's it's late July, right? Did the date move though? From like
No,
the
it's
20,
oh
25th
shoot,
to
that's
the,
right.
I think it did move a little bit, so I don't want to give
Yeah,
anybody the wrong date. So
it's somewhere the week of July 26th. That's all I can tell you.
yep. Big Phil, if you're still here, put that in the chat.
Was he on?
I know he was here, but he might have already dropped.
Dipped out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Big Phil. He's about to be a grandpappy.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I love that. It's so exciting.
Dude's old.
Wow. All right.
And me, I'm 56 years old.
Damn! I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's the pot
Yeah.
calling the kettle.
Yeah. What else do we have? Anything else?
I don't have anything else to top of my head, man. It's midnight.
I was gonna do my the same books as Derek, but he had a better cover because mine were only the cover B's anyway. So the icon versus hardware.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd been looking for that one for a while, but I forgot to check, and I'm just so glad that Rich and Paul mentioned that cover, so I thought to check on eBay for it.
I got all the covers, but I did not pay as little as you guys paid for them.
Oh.
Yeah, I have the only other one I have is the was it number 3? The one that's the Green Lantern 87 homage. Yeah, I have that one too.
I'd love to get that one signed by Daryl Banks. Love to get that one signed by him.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
And I really enjoyed that series too. I love the Icon versus Hardware series. They did some things that had not been done before that I thought was kind of dope.
Yeah. So, and just to recap, so we talked about Epiphany Engine. They did cross the $26,000 mark. So getting closer to yes, so getting closer to 50,000. Again, I'm gonna pull this up and share it. This is historic, and we all should be finding a way to participate.
Yeah, it's just 26 right now.
So
that's what's up.
Yep. It's a historic book, crossover from, I don't know, over 30 different companies contributing IP, and just a who's who of writers and artists involved in this. So this is something to have. There's so many different covers, so much great art involved. Support this effort. Just as important, share it with other people so that they know about this as well. Let's get the word out, because this book is aimed at a niche, right? You might see Kickstarters that are making a lot more money, but those Kickstarters are aimed at like a much broader audience, and
Right.
our audience is a little bit more focused. And then at the same time, our audience and then other people that might be interested in it, they might be a little bit harder to reach than typical mainstream. So it really requires us using word of mouth to spread the word. So make sure you do that. Share this.
Yes. I'm backer number 35.
You know, as I said before, we complain in our space all the time about getting proper representation and having agency in these comics, and us owning our own characters and our own publishing. And when you think about the history of comics and our comics, our characters, our creators, and you hear stories like how All Negro Comics #2 never came into existence because the people that ran the businesses, their competition, would have you, wouldn't allow them to get paper to print the book. You know, when you hear stories about how various creators said, I have this great idea for a book, but they wouldn't allow me to do it. You get mad at stuff like that. I hate hearing how a creator's creativity is stifled because some corporate guy or gal or what have you says doesn't fit our agenda. So no, you can't do that. You can't stifle creativity, man. That's just crazy to me. Particularly when you want that creativity to be representative of your lens and your viewpoint and your background, and you want to put shine on that, and you're not allowed to do that in a way that's real and organic
Right.
and not a trope and not a stereotype and not fitting some image that the general public might help sell more books, but just being real. That's what this Epiphany Engine is all about. It's all the stuff that we complain about on a daily basis in these spaces, and these guys are doing it the right way. And it's 100% theirs. It's 100% ours. You know, don't talk about it. Be about it. This is your opportunity to be part of history and to do the right thing. And
And donate at least $1. Come on.
At least $1. Even if you don't want to back it, you don't want to buy it.
Freaking
If
dollar.
$40 is too much for you to spend on a comic, fine, spend $5. Spend $1 for that matter. But spend something, contribute something towards it. You don't want to give us a super chat tonight? Fine. Donate it to Epiphany Engine. Give our money to Epiphany Engine tonight. That's what I ask you to do, because it's just that damn important. So we're gonna keep talking about it in the space till this campaign is over, and then some. So I can't emphasize enough how important this is to all of. If you enjoy what we do and you enjoy what we talk about, then you should back this, because this is what we're all about. This is literally what this space is all about. What we were created for.
It's the ultimate collaboration.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Early.
And then another Kickstarter, Paul did an interview with creators and for Afrofutures, and I'll just say this: if you're interested in a book that's going to cover Josephine Baker's life as a spy,
Yeah,
or is going to cover a modern day version of characters from All Negro comics,
Yeah.
then maybe you want to participate in that Kickstarter.
yeah.
So look up Afrofutures on Kickstarter and participate in that one. That could be some really good material as well.
Those two stories in particular, the All Negro Squad, influenced by All Negro comics, and the Chronicles of Josephine Baker. Those two stories in particular, I'm very excited to read. I'm very excited for that. That's a really dope project that I think people should support. I'm not getting any kickbacks to say this. I'm not getting paid to say. Just genuinely a fan of the work. I really do believe in the project, and I'm excited to see it come into fruition. How far are they along in their Kickstarter, by the way?
They've hit their numbers. They didn't have like as big a target as was it 5,000? Yeah, as Epiphany Engine. Let's see. Yeah, so their goal was 4,200. So they got their goal.
They're trying to get to the stretch
Yeah,
goal.
more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
So this book is definitely coming into fruition, and I'm happy for that. Which cover did I order? I think I ordered the cover with the 808 on it. That cover right there. I think that's the one I ordered.
This one? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I ordered a few of them actually. This is another book that, who knows? Might be a bit of a sleeper too. This is way under the radar right now.
I think so.
Yep. So,
Okay.
So,
all right.
anything else?
I gotta go to bed.
I bet you are.
Time.
Yeah, I mean, you put Cheryl Lynn through quite an interview.
Yes.
I know it might have been too much, but
it was a lot.
her work deserved it, man.
She got a lot of flowers. She got a lot of flowers from you, from the chat.
She deserves it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic writer. She's an absolute fantastic writer. She's a rising star, and I'm just happy to recognize it on the upswing and not after she's already blown up.
Right.
She's truly talented, and
when it's too late, altogether too late.
And then I'll be like, "Hey, Ms. Eaton, can you please join us on Black Comic?" What? I ain't got time for that. I got a movie I'm producing that my work is being made into a film. I'm on set in Dubai. I can't talk to you people.
Right. I have no time for you folks.
Time for you folks. But yeah, I appreciate. Look, I appreciate the fact of how lucky we've been to have the opportunity to speak to these people whose books that we buy and enjoy. I want to give a special shout out to Vagrant, who just made a post here about not that one, this one. Thanks for all the work you're doing behind the scenes, Derek.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work, y'all, doing these lives, these shows. It may seem very like, we just come on here and just do whatever it's a lot of work, particularly on those interviews too. Derek does a lot of stuff for Black Comic Lords that the majority of people have no idea what he does. And he's mad humble, he's quiet, doesn't talk about it.
Except for the flexes.
Except for the flexes, which I allow because he does so much other stuff. And he doesn't bitch. I've never heard Derek bitch about anything. And if there's anyone who deserves to complain, it'd definitely be Derek, because all the stuff that's heaped on him to do. And he really doesn't get enough flowers. We talk about don't give enough people enough flowers and accolades. Derek, Dr. Wizard, the Imperious Flex, does not get enough accolades for what he does for Black Comic Lords. He's our producer. This guy makes us look 3 times better than we actually are. So, shout out to my man, Derek. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And Paul, I just wanted to ask, is there anything you want to say? Like, we've been using our Wednesday shows for interviews. Is there anything you want to say about upcoming interviews?
Bro, I just show up when you guys tell me to show up. I don't even remember what our next interview is.
Okay.
I know Angel has an interview coming up.
Yes, but I think that's when you're on vacation next month.
Yeah, there's one next week. There's one next week, Paul.
2 weeks, Angel. The fact that you think it's in another month is scaring me. But you have an interview in a couple of weeks, Angel.
What?
Yeah. Great.
No,
That's just awesome.
Oh, you're going on vacation and I gotta take over.
July 17th. That's in 2 weeks, Angel. Please tell me you have it on your calendar. or else the person will show up and will be on this channel by themselves, staring
Oh,
at
they
all
won't
these
be by
people in the chat, going, "Where's the Black Comic Lords? I thought I was being interviewed. Who are these people in the chat?"
No, I'll be here. I'll have all this stuff. I'm good.
Y'all heard her say she's going to be there, so if she doesn't show up,
So
you have
Paul,
it
you don't want
recorded.
to pre-announce next Wednesday. Is your call.
What's happening?
You can keep it a secret.
Derek,
I-
I literally, am I supposed to look something up? What's coming out next Wednesday?
I sent you a snapshot in the chat, so you can
All right,
determine if you want to pre-announce.
Give me 1 second. Am I
Actually,
supposed to?
it's in the chat with Big Phil. Actually, I accidentally sent it in the one with Big Phil.
Uh-oh.
Oh, is that next week?
It is next week. At least
I didn't keep
looks like
track
for
of
me.
this stuff.
Yeah.
Our whole summer is full, everybody. Just so you know, like our entire summer is booked. So if you're a creator and you're like hitting us up and saying, "Hey, can you guys interview me?" It's not that we're trying to, duck you. We're literally booked. There's worse problems to have, I guess. It's a blessing in disguise. Yeah, we can talk about that. Next week, July 10th, we are going to be doing a show with Ernie from Blurred Without Fear. So check that out. I've been a big fan of Ernie's for a long time. Even before, we formed Black Comic Lords, been following this channel. The guy is just so knowledgeable on comics, and the work that he does, throwing shine on various characters, particularly Black characters. He doesn't get enough props on that. Is really, really great. Guy knows his stuff, and I appreciate people that know their stuff and love it as well. So really looking forward to speaking to Ernie next week.
So Paul, you see this this question from Vagrant.
How about an interview series? I'm on the BCL team, so we can hear the story about how everything. That's probably not a story I want to tell. To be honest with you.
Yeah, sometimes you can see like a duck, and all you see is the duck floating really nicely above the water. And you have no clue what's happening under the water, and that.
Yeah, man. There's stuff. There's the best part of the iceberg is just what you see above the water, man. You don't. That's not a story. There maybe there's some of my fellow Black Comic Lords want to tell that story. It's a messy story.
I'm good. I'm good.
Sometimes it's best not to see how the sausage is made. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ground meat.
Yeah.
Any other comments here, Derek?
Vagrant saying he had a comment earlier about some debunking on the Black
Sure.
electricity powers myth.
I remember that. I remember that video. That was a dope video.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we're gonna talk. We're just gonna chop it up, man. Honestly, there's no real topic other than what's it like being a Black comic collector? What's the state of Black comic collecting, comics and characters and creators, and just gonna chop it up, man. It's just relaxed. Whole team, our whole Wednesday wrap up team will be in on that interview with Ernie. So,
Oh, there's another one. What's this?
what the hell is that? Angel always popping up. Look, I'm starting to get worried. Angel is challenging you for the Flex Master position, man.
No,
What the devil?
It's just really pretty.
That is, I like that. I like that a lot.
Is that Amut? Is that the god demon Amut?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't want to say no.
Crocodile thing that we just talked about on the cover with the werewolf.
That looks like a dinosaur to me.
It looks
Actually,
like
yeah, you're right. It looks like a dinosaur.
It doesn't look like a demon. Oh, so look, it's dinosaurs.
It's a dinosaur.
Oh, okay.
Dinosaurs and werewolves. That's crazy.
And zombie ones.
Zombie dinosaur? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, Angel. They want to see you do that chopping dance again, Angel.
That looks like the Captain Kirk Kung Fu chop.
Okay.
A lot of Star Trek.
I'm going to show one more thing quickly. Um, in
Is
this
it
one,
a 10.0 or
no, it's not.
9.0?
It's not a 10.0. I was actually gonna wait a while longer to show this one. Paul, you have one of these too, I know. But I got this on eBay, and I've been looking out for more of these to show up. They haven't showed many of these have not showed up. There have not been many to show up on eBay yet, but this one I got from eBay. So you might have seen the Graphic
Oh,
History of Hip Hop, like the
yeah.
actual book, but this is a comic version of it. It's gonna be really hard to find. You have to pay close attention on eBay. That's all I'll say. And the way you can tell the
It's
difference
really
is,
hard. But to be specific, it's really hard to find in good condition
yeah, in good
Right,
condition.
that part.
So
because it was given away in public schools in New York to
Yep.
children who are not bagging and boarding them. They'll just shoving it in their book bag or what have you.
And roll it up
So
in
finding that
pocket.
finding that in
Mhm.
good condition is not easy.
Yeah, now there are 2 copies that are signed by the creators on Mercari right now that one child, I think it's a child, is selling. But aside from that, I haven't seen any other than I think 2 of them on eBay that have showed up. So I haven't heard anybody
I
talk
would
about that book at all. The comic version of it.
I would show them, but I don't want to flex. That's all right.
No,
I'm
you
good.
don't need to flex. You're good. You're good.
I'm good. You know, mine's already personalized to myself and the Black Comic Lords. But it's fine. It's good. It's good. Enjoy your little flex.
Are we saying goodnight to our
I
friends?
think we are. I think we are.
I need to get some sleep. The guy's keeping me up too late.
At least some before the fireworks.
Hey, I hope everyone enjoys their hot dog and hamburger barbecue cookout day tomorrow. We should rename the 4th of July cookout day because that's all we do, right? Is there anything Black folk do on the 4th of July other than do a cookout and watch the fireworks?
Well, where I live, we have a bunch of food trucks and do food day, which is great. Food from all over the state, all day. Awesome.
Well, where the hell is that, Angel? I live in the same area you live.
Downtown,
Food truck.
where you been?
Downtown Sanford?
Yes. So there's a
I
huge
don't
parking
I
lot,
don't go to Sanford.
and then it's like 20 food trucks from all over the state. The food is amazing.
Yeah, I love the food truck parks when they do the food truck parks and a whole bunch of food trucks show up
That's
and you can
tomorrow, all day.
foods around the world. So that's downtown Sanford.
Yes.
That's cool. I gotta go get some burgers and dogs and throw them on the grill.
Oh. Well,
So Paul, changing the subject quickly. So are we still talking about Supercell next week if we have Ernie on?
Ah, shit! I forgot about that.
Okay, I think the homework assignment has been moved out a week. I think.
So are we gonna end the show?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I'm definitely talking about Supercell a little bit this coming Friday.
Okay, sounds good. Friday evening.
So I'm gonna binge watch the rest of the show tomorrow. Hopefully my daughter and my wife will let me sleep in and veg out for a few hours to watch it before I get on the grill or whatever I do. I don't know what the hell's going on tomorrow. I don't know. I'm tired.
All right, chat. Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate
Appreciate
you all.
each and every one of you.
Absolutely. Have a safe day doing whatever you do tomorrow.
Before we sign off, please, if you haven't done so already, I beg you, like the video.
Push the button.
Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel. Share the video as soon as it's done. Share, hit share. You're already there. Just share the video, but especially like the video. All right, that's all we ask.
Yes.
It's not asking for much. It costs you nothing.
Thank you.
Help the Black Comic Lords keep doing what we're doing. Appreciate y'all.
Chip chop dances. Chip chop chop chop.
All right.
That's gonna have to be a meme. You're gonna have to make that into a meme, Derek. I need Angel going.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Okay, you have to say chop chop too.
Chop 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 chop.
Wait, take us off the screen. All right, go ahead. Do it again.
Chop chop. Chop 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 chop.
Okay.
She won't stop. She's still going. All right, so that will officially be made into one of our memes on the Black Comic Lords channel. Incredible.
All right.
Next time we show that we're excited about something, I want that to be one of our memes.
Okay.
We'll have to add some music to it.
You got it. We'll figure something out. You tell me what music. We'll get it on there.
Probably some polka music. It looks like polka music.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Is that polka?
The chicken dance. I must be getting tired. I'm getting punchy. Good night, everyone. Black Comic Lords. We got you.
Take care.